Welcome, everybody. I think it's working. I think I'm connected and visible and audible and everything, but you guys are going to have to let me know in the chat. I am very, very tired. Just so tired. I did not get enough sleep last night or the night before that or the night before that or the night before that. Anyway, I have some coffee here, so hopefully that will help. But let's listen to this thing that I prepped last night. I saw that Dave Rubin debated Parker Get a Job and others, and it seemed interesting. All right, 1 second. Just rearranging my little things here. We were worried that the baby was, not doing well, but she's doing well now, so that's what matters. She's doing very well. She was jaundice at first, and jaundice is pretty normal for babies, but this was like a different level of jaundice that is not normal. And it jumped disturbingly quickly to a very high number. And if it goes too high, then there's going to be like brain damage, like mental institution for the rest of her life type of deal. But it didn't get that high. It stayed within a normal range. It was just disturbing that it jumped from like 8 to 14 literally overnight. In 12 hours. In 12 hours, it went from 8 to 14. And when it gets to 20, we're talking brain damage territory. So, needless to say, it was very scary for a minute there. But she's doing well now. She's back at the house. She spent a couple nights at the NICU, I believe, or a night. Yeah. She was there for a couple of days at the NICU. Yeah. It was scary. What causes that newborn jaundice? Well, I'll tell you, I'm an expert on the subject now. Because, that's what happens when you're dealing with this type of situation. You become an expert in this shit. Hang on. There's a chemical called bilirubin, bilirubin, that I believe your liver produces. And adults need it for various different things. But babies do not need this yet anyway. Their livers are immature. And if they don't... if there are a number of different possible causes for what could be creating this buildup of bilirubin in their system, but one of them is called intake driven, where the breast milk just is not creating or giving the enzymes or the amount necessary or whatever to prevent this bilirubin buildup. There's another case where it's hemolytic, where like if the baby and the mother's blood types don't match up, if like one is negative and one is positive, I don't know how it works, then it can basically the mother's breast milk will somehow erase the red blood cells, or it will disable the red blood cells. And the red blood cells are what is filtering out the bilirubin. And it's like a runaway thing where once it starts, it's really hard to control. So anyway, basically, I think this one was intake driven, where the nutrients necessary were just not there yet. It took a little bit of time for them to come in. And and that's why it, it all kind of happened very, very quickly. It was wild. But I'm sorry, my mind is so spaced out right now. There's so much I want to talk about, but it's hard to remember sometimes when you're really tired. Anyway, that's what happened. I believe it was intake driven. If it gets to a high number, they put them under these blue lights. They discovered that blue lights will break down bilirubin in skin because they were putting, basically in maternity wards, they were putting the poor babies over by the window where they're not supposed to be exposed to direct sunlight, obviously. And the rich babies were sitting over by the window to the rest of the ward so everybody could see them. And the poor babies were having better outcomes than the rich babies. And, that didn't make any sense. Obviously, rich babies have every opportunity, and poor babies do not. So they're like trying to figure out why the poor babies are doing better than the rich ones. And they discovered it's because the sun, when coming in through a window, filters out the damaging, radiation, if it's through a window. And the blue light from the sun, that wavelength of light, is hitting their skin, and it's breaking down the bilirubin. It's chemically changing the bilirubin. And it's kind of like it's attaching the, or not attaching. It's like the photons are, hang on, I'm sorry. Let me let Kashmir out. Well, hang on. Just. Okay, sorry, I'm back now. Anyway, it's chemically changing the bilirubin, so it's turning it into a form that can be filtered out. And so if they're jaundiced, if they're very jaundiced, they will put them under these blue lights. The more blue light hitting different angles of their skin, the better. So if they're very, very jaundiced, they'll put them under a hood of blue lights, and they'll put them on a pad of blue light, so it's hitting all over at once. They put a mask on them and everything. It's wild. And if it gets to 20, bilirubin basically will cross the blood-brain barrier. And that's the point at which you get kernicterus is what it's called. It's a condition caused by bilirubin buildup in the brain, and they are permanently brain damaged from that point forward for the rest of their lives, forever. So it's pretty scary, But she got the blue light treatment for 4.5 hours, and they tested again. It went from 14.5 to 13.7 or something. It went down. That was phenomenally good news. Plus, she was taking in formula and stuff like that. So treatment was working, was the point. and they slowly turned off the blue lights, and it went up a little bit, then it went back down, the rebound effect. So yeah, it was okay, but she had to spend the night in the NICU. That sucked. That's like, if you've never had to deal with something like that, that's terrible. I feel for the families of people who have a kid in the NICU. Like, goddamn, right? That's so hard. I was thinking about it. Like, if you want to put money to something, you should be putting your money to making sure hospitals have extra NICU rooms. But then I remembered, oh wait, hospitals are run by fucking billionaires. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't put your money toward that shit. They should be putting the money toward that shit. They have the money to put to it. What we should be doing is pressuring those fucking shitheads to make sure that they're putting enough rooms in for families of children in the NICU. Why the fuck are there 2 rooms in the NICU total? 2 rooms for parents. Why is that the case? In this gigantic fucking hospital that spans literally multiple city blocks, thousands, tens of thousands, maybe 100,000 patients. I don't know. It's fucking giant. 2 rooms in the NICU. 2. And 1 doesn't have a shower. Why the fuck did the billionaires not put more rooms in? What? Just, my God. Seriously infuriating. Anyway, all right, let's talk about Dave Rubin. Hang on, let me pull it up. I don't think anybody should be putting money, like donations, into NICUs. We should be putting our time into forcing the hospital to take 50% of the $27 fucking dollars they charge you for a Tylenol into building another room for NICU parents. It's just fucking wild. All right, let's see. Where did that video go? I know I downloaded this video, and now it's not in my... Oh my God, I forgot about this video from Dave Rubin. Let's watch this while I download this other one. I could have sworn I downloaded this from Dave Rubin already. But let me try again. Oh, I did try to download it, and it failed. That's what happened. I see. Okay. Give me just a second here to try again. Download. All right. Nope. Nope. Oh my God, dude. This is driving me fucking crazy. I'm sorry. This is giving me a lot of trouble. I'm doing my best here. Trying to pull it back up. Okay. Download. To figure out what's causing this issue. Jubilee is most definitely going to hit me with a copyright claim. Because that's who's running this, Jubilee, right now. All right, let's just watch it on this for the moment, and we'll come back to it. Dave Rubin debated Parker get a job, among others. Let's give this a listen, see how it went. Badly is the answer, by the way.
You're arguing that things economically were better under Joe Biden.
At the end of his administration, absolutely.
Yeah, so can you give me an example of how?
Yeah, GDP growth was better off. Real median wage growth was better off. Inflation was better off at the end of his administration. Unemployment was better off at the end of his administration. We had the worst year of job growth in the past 4 years, just this last year under Trump's administration.
Was the Rubin report, did that also accept Russian money?
What show did I do for
No.
Russia?
Yes, it did. As a matter of fact, it accepted Russian money. It was more than just accepting Russian money. Russia was paying him an obscene amount of money, millions and millions of dollars per year, basically to just like for almost nothing. It was very clear that it was a bribe or that they were just trying to support it. They paid him millions per year for the right to license his episodes to play them on their own channel. And it's like absurd to think that he didn't see clear through that. Like, what? Anyway, yes, he was bribed by Russia.
I'm not saying you did a show for Russia. I'm saying Russia saw you as a stooge who could easily say the talking points that benefited them.
But what law?
Yeah, 100%. I know a good bit about this subject. We'll get to it.
Is stopping you from doing anything that another person cannot do.
Laws are not protecting trans people. If they were, trans people would not be disproportionately unemployed, unhoused,
What would you like? What would you
settings.
like the law to do for you? Again, the law can guarantee equality. It can't guarantee protection, right? So
Yes, it certainly can.
So
Well, like, what? The law can't guarantee protection? What the fuck are you smoking? Is that not literally what the law is for? To guarantee protection? What an absolutely fucking wild thing to say.
Has wokeness pushed America past the breaking point, or is the progressive movement the only answer to MAGA? I'm John Regalado, and from Jubilee Media, this is Surrounded. We're one break.
Is progressivism the only answer to MAGA? No. In no way, shape, or form is it the only answer to MAGA. You know what the answer to MAGA is? Building coalitions with everybody, not excluding a single individual. They learned this the hard way in Germany when the communists and the Catholics didn't trust each other. Building coalitions and agreeing to work together to fucking destroy this political movement permanently. Jail everybody above a certain level. The fucking pilot who flew the scumbags around, who flew Mike Lindell's jet to get the January 6th people there, put that motherfucker in prison. Why the fuck is he walking around? That's where we start. The bureaucrats, the arch criminals, and the informants all get a different degree of punishment. That's how denazification worked. That's the answer to MAGA.
Brave soul faces a room full of disagreeers. Today we're unpacking what it means to be far left, the backlash to wokeness, and what your vote stands for in the upcoming midterm election.
Yo, who the fuck is this dude, by the way? Is this like the leader of Jubilee or something?
I'm here with our featured guest, conservative commentator Dave Rubin. Welcome.
Good to be here.
Are y'all ready to debate Dave? Let's begin.
I'm Dave Rubin of The Rubin Report, and today I'm surrounded by the far left.
Okay, I don't like progressives are not far left. You know who's far left in the United States? Communists who advocate for a stateless, classless, moneyless society. That's far left. I wouldn't even say socialists are far left. You know, socialists, people who advocate for strong unions and worker co-ops instead of privately owned businesses. They're owned by the workers themselves. That would be left. Communist, I would say, is far left. Progressives, who are still fucking capitalists, are not far left. Okay? In any context. If left-leaning capitalists are far left to you, that should say something about the society that you now live in, right?
My first surrounded claim is that wokeism did more damage to America than Trump ever did.
All right, if you would like to debate this claim, please get to the center in 3, 2, 1.
He's quick. He's quick.
I'm surprised that Parker didn't jump in, and I'm surprised that Parker isn't, like, being given this platform directly. He's very, very big and influential on the TikTok and on YouTube. I believe millions of followers, if I'm not mistaken.
So I find it interesting that you think wokeism has done so much damage to America as opposed to Donald Trump. Wokeism did not kick 17 million Americans off of their health insurance through Medicaid. Wokeism didn't start a disastrous war with Iran that has now led to inflation outpacing wage growth. Wokeism hasn't ripped up institutions or attempted even to destroy free speech, even by your standards, because Ronald Reagan appointed judge ruled that the Trump administration was violating the First Amendment by attempting to deport, arrest, and detain students and faculty members on college campuses for protesting for Palestine. Wokeism,
Hang on. Fact check says Reagan appointed Judge William G. Young of the U.S. District Court for the District of Massachusetts ruled on September 29th to 30th, 2025 in AAUP versus Rubio that the Trump administration's ideological deportation policy, arresting, detaining, and seeking to deport non-citizen students and faculty for pro-Palestinian campus advocacy, violated the First Amendment. I remember this was because this girl, basically, she was a legal immigrant. She was here legally. She had all of her paperwork, and she was going to school here. And they arrested her and threw her into a fucking concentration camp because she wrote an op-ed about Israel, negative about Israel. That shit was wild. I remember that. That was fucking insane when that shit happened. And it's still kind of going down.
It doesn't even have remotely as disastrous as a track record as Donald Trump.
Well, how would you define wokeism? I guess we should start with that.
I think wokeism is a pejorative term that's used to describe left-wing cultural politics.
Right, and what do you think left-wing cultural politics are?
I'd say left-wing cultural politics include just the broad attitudes towards social justice, especially for minority groups that have faced persecution in various ways.
Okay, so I think the simplest way to define wokeism is basically collectivism on steroids, and usually as it applies to race.
You know what's really funny about this? Collectivism versus individualism and all of that shit. They like to throw this word collectivism around. What's good for the group is what we should do, right? That's the portrayal from the right, that the left believes that what's best for the group is what we should do. In reality, fascism is the ultimate form of collectivism. It is conform or die. What's best for the group in MAGA's eyes? Not being gay. They come up with all kinds of different reasons, you know, you can't reproduce if you're gay, or it's just not normal, or we want traditional values, or whatever other shit. But at the end of the day, fascism is conform or else. It is the ultimate form of collectivism. You must do what we want as the majority group in the United States. You must follow our expectations, or we will fucking destroy you. The left doesn't want collectivism. Hilariously, the left in the United States right now wants individualism. I'm gay. I want to live the life that I want to live without you fucking with it. I want you to leave me alone and let me do my thing. The roles have reversed, and Dave Rubin apparently never got the memo that they reversed. Republicans are about collectivism fully.
And gender, meaning that you should be judged based on the color. You actually should be judged based on the color of your skin and your sexuality and your gender.
Nobody wants that. Nobody is advocating for that except for the right, the far right, the fascists. If you don't conform, then we have a problem with you. And if you can't conform, then we're going to fucking destroy you because you're black or whatever, because you're Mexican. You're an immigrant. You're an other. You are evil in our eyes. I'm not going to accept an other being in my country. What the fuck do you think MAGA is? He's literally describing MAGA right now. Conform or else. Are you kidding me?
and a whole bunch of immutable characteristics. And depending on where those fall on the left's kind of hierarchy of importance, that's kind of how you can parse out where people should be and how important their ideas are.
There's no hierarchy of importance. We want things to be equal. We want it to be fair. We want people to be able to walk down the street without being harassed, whether they're black or white, regardless of skin color. And Dave Rubin is pretending that us caring about the fact that black people can't walk down the street safely without being fucking harassed, us caring about that is caring more about black people than fucking white people. What? Whoop, sorry. I thought I had to, yeah.
So even assuming your characterization to be an accurate characterization, which I don't necessarily take,
right?
Can you give
nonsense?
We're gonna have a lot of trouble getting to a fair agreement on
that
wokeism.
wokeism has, for example, skyrocketed inflation to outpace wage growth the way that Donald Trump's war of aggression on Iran has done? Can you demonstrate that wokeism has violated the First Amendment by arresting students and faculty members on college campuses?
Okay, well, yes, I can. So let's start. Well, first off, the disastrous war, the quote-unquote.
I'm sorry. Let me just one more time. I missed what he said here.
That wokeism has violated the First Amendment by arresting students and faculty members on college campuses.
Can you prove that wokeism has done that? He can't, because that's what MAGA is doing. He was being facetious when he said that, right?
Okay, well, yes, I can. So
no, you can't, because it's not happening, dumbass.
Let's start. Well, first off, the disastrous war, the quote-unquote disastrous war that you're talking about. You're talking about a 40-day military operation that stopped an apocalyptic regime from getting a nuclear bomb.
What? Okay. Well, that regime, or I'm sorry, the government who ran that 40-day war was the one that ended the agreement in the first place to facilitate getting a nuclear weapon. Okay, the agreement, it was in place. The JCPOA, the Iran nuclear deal, existed to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, and they were following it flawlessly. And there were UN inspectors in there. Europe was tracking it and agreed they were doing a fine job. The whole 9 yards. And what did Trump do? Ripped it up. Hold on, let me angle this down just a bit. That's too much. When Trump ripped up the Iran nuclear deal, it effectively guaranteed war was going to happen. There's no way around that at that point. We had a method of preventing that from happening, from getting a nuclear weapon. And Trump ripped it up. So literally all of it is Trump's fault in every way, shape, and form. There is not one other person that can be blamed for what Donald Trump did here. You're ripping up the Iran nuclear deal.
And exporting terrorism throughout the world. And we're now in an economic embargo of them, right? We've basically done a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. So to say it's a disaster,
we've done a blockade. They did a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz to strangle the world economy, because that's some of the only leverage that they have, and it works really well. Now the world economy is suffering because this dumb son of a bitch, Donald Trump, doesn't have any fucking clue what he's doing. He is completely clueless, right?
We've done a blockade.
We did lose. Hang on. We did lose 13. We did lose 13 of our soldiers, and that is
and killed over
terrible.
200 children.
And it's a lot more than that, obviously. But okay.
Things happen in war, right?
Yeah.
Well, things do happen in war.
The war was fucking unnecessary. Why the fuck are we there? Why are we doing this? We had a solution to this problem. The JCPOA, the Iran nuclear deal. Why is this going on right now? Why is Donald Trump in Iran illegally? These people are fucking absurd. They are caricatures of themselves at this point. It's like, I don't understand how they can be so ridiculous.
Wait, you can laugh at that. Hold on, listen. You want to talk?
I agree. But that's why war should be a last option. If Donald Trump wanted to prevent the Islamic Republic of Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon, he could have just stuck with the Iran nuclear deal that he ripped up.
Yes, fucking yes. Yes, you can't say no when the answer is yes. You're literally sitting there saying no like it means something. It's complete garbage.
Iran did not enrich past the 3.67. Wait, they didn't enrich past the 3.67%.
That's not true.
Yes, it is fucking true. And that's not according to just us, the United States. That's according to the UN. That's according to inspectors from across fucking Europe. Everybody knew they were following the deal. Everybody. Do you know how hard it is to get the materials for a nuclear weapon? Nuclear weapons are so heavily regulated, and ICBMs as well. There are only a few mines around the world that contain the materials, and it's not just nuclear material. Only a few mines around the world that contain the materials that people need, and we can watch on satellites to see if those mines are being utilized and how much those mines are being used. We knew for a fact that Iran was not building a nuclear weapon under the JCPOA. It's not even a question. It's not about trusting the UN or European countries or whatever. Our own intelligence, our own satellite imagery proved that they were not building a nuclear weapon. They weren't even attempting. They weren't even reaching for a nuclear weapon in any way. And even if they were, they still haven't been researching intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs. That's another thing that's really, really hard to get right, to accomplish. You have to have a lot of testing going on to get ICBMs right. And they weren't even trying under the JCPOA. I don't think they're trying now under the under the current administration. ICBMs just are not necessary for them. They don't want to strike the United States. They saw what happened on 9/11 when the US was struck. They know how badly that goes. I think that they honestly want to support terrorism in the Middle East over anything. And yes, Iran does support terrorism. That's something that the Iran nuclear deal did not address. The fact that they were funding Hamas and Hezbollah and people like that, extremist groups. That was not addressed in the JCPOA, but they got a small win. There would be no nuclear weapon. And it was a very small price to pay. We just lift some of the sanctions. Totally worth it. What's the downside to this? Anyway, Dave Rubin is a fucking idiot, an embarrassing idiot.
CPOA. They only got to 60% after Donald Trump left that deal and then started doing aggressive actions.
I must say, I'm impressed with your talking points. You got impressive talking points, and you memorized them well. They're not correct, but I am impressed.
What a fucking douchebag, dude.
Okay.
First off, the Iranians admitted in the negotiations right before the war started that they were enriching past what they were allowed to. That's.
I'm sorry. One more time.
Right before the war started that they.
Yes, dumbass. Why the fuck do you think they were doing that? Because the deal had been ripped up under Trump's first term. Yes, they were. That's part of the leverage. You know what? This is the trade-off. Iran agrees not to enrich beyond a certain point, 6% or something, I think. And we lift sanctions so that their economy can function, so they can literally just fucking feed their people. That's the deal. Now, what happened when Trump got into office? He put sanctions on them again. Well, the context of the deal, the fact that he erased it the way that he did means that, well, now they can enrich uranium. If you want them to stop enriching uranium, stop strangling their fucking economy. So, yeah, they were enriching uranium, but they were still a solid year or two out from getting a nuclear bomb. I don't think they even have an interest in it. There's a fatwa, a religious fatwa against nuclear weapons. Or there was under the last guy before he was killed. I guess we'll see what happens next with this new dude. It's Happy Gay Month. Oh my God, it is. It's Gay Month. Congratulations on Gay Month, everybody. Anyway, trying to remember where I was. What was I saying? I was saying something about, I think, there's a fatwa on a nuclear weapon. Anyway, that's a piece of leverage that they had. Of course they're going to use whatever leverage they have. Obviously. Like, why the fuck are we even messing with them in the first place? Why can't we just leave them alone? Like, is it really our business? Is it really worth it to go over there and fuck with what they've got going on? No, it's not. The answer is no.
They were enriching past what they were allowed to. That's number one. Number two, you also have to go on the assumption. You also have to go. Hold on. You also have to go on the assumption or acceptance that can you agree or verify their.
Says the IAEA reports and U.S. analyses show Iran did not enrich uranium beyond the JCPOA's 3.6% limit. Until after Trump pulled the U.S. out of the nuclear deal. Iran started exceeding that cap in 2019 in response to the withdrawal. Again, it's not just about enrichment. It's about where they're mining and how much of what they're mining. And we could verify through satellite imagery and everything that they were absolutely following the deal without beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Claims. It's one thing to say, oh, this is what we're doing, this is what we are agreed to, et cetera, but you have to be able to verify that. And the idea that we have people on the ground or the UN or some third-party organization that can verify what they're actually doing with underground nuclear sites and a whole bunch of other things.
Bro, we had those inspectors in place who were verifying on the ground, going through the nuclear facilities where they were enriching for nuclear power, not for nuclear weaponry. It's a totally different beast. You can't hide that from the world. That's impossible to hide.
Is I would say...
Well, nowadays it's impossible to hide. Pakistan successfully hid it back in the 70s, I think, and so did Israel. But we have so much satellite data and everything nowadays. It would be real difficult to hide that shit. Every time Kim Jong-un tests a nuke, we know about it instantly.
What they're actually doing with underground nuclear sites and a whole bunch of other things is I would say, quite a leap of faith, right? You want to trust but verify.
Can I respond to that?
Sure.
Yeah, we do trust but verify, dumbass.
IAEA and U.S. intelligence said that Iran did not enrich past the 3.67% prior to Donald Trump ripping up and stepping out of the Iran nuclear deal in I believe it was
2019.
2017, 2018.
So again,
maybe it was 2017. They just said it and I missed it.
In these negotiations,
because Donald Trump ripped up the Iran nuclear deal to begin with.
Yes, you can sit there and say no all you want, but it's meaningless. Yes, the answer is yes. That is why they did it. Obviously, you take away your half of the bargain and start sanctioning them again. Fucking obviously, they're going to use the other half of the bargain as leverage to make you stop doing that. What?
That's the only reason why.
Let's try it a different way. I'll try it a different way.
The IAEA assessments.
I'll try it a different way because I'm fucking wrong is what that means. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Or he does know and he's intentionally setting out to deceive people.
With me, and Tulsi Gabbard, our director of national intelligence, testified in front of Congress last year, and according to the entire intelligence community, Iran did not have a nuclear weapons program.
Okay, that they didn't have a nuclear weapons
Yes.
program. They were enriching past the point that they were allowed to for civilian.
Not until after they ripped up the deal. And just because they're enriching beyond that point does not mean they have a nuclear weapons program. It means they're enriching past that point because they're signaling, hey, we could have a nuke if we wanted. You should lift the sanctions if you don't want us to. This is just part of the leverage. This is the back and forth. This is how it works. This is why we need somebody with an even temperament in office. Somebody who's not a fucking loose cannon who's going to go off half-cocked with absolutely no preparation and no idea what they're fucking doing. That's why we need somebody like that in office. Unfortunately, we have dipshit Trump.
Everyone knows that. But,
Yeah,
but allow me.
But do you understand
allow
a
me to
weaponization
roughly,
process is different than
let me ask
just
you,
enriching?
do you think the Iranian regime before this war, the Iranian regime that has oppressed the people of Iran for 40 years, do you think that was a good regime? Would you say that was a good government? Would you like?
Absolutely not. They're fucking vile. They're evil. I hate it. I hate everything about it. I don't want anything to do with the Iranian regime. It's none of our fucking business. Get the fuck out of Iran. We have no place in that country. Are you kidding me right now?
To live under those people? Were they progressive in any way? Do they hold any of the values that any of you guys hold?
No, but
we
don't just start wars on countries whose politics we disagree with or who are oppressive to their own people. We were actually an ally to Saudi Arabia, and Mohammed bin Salman ripped up.
That I agree with. You don't do that.
Okay,
we got something. All right, we got something.
We
got something
to
with
Israel that has committed gross human rights violations in Gaza.
I'm shocked that Israel came up. Israel, the only place that has any of the progressive values that any of you guys share.
Bro.
Really?
Wait,
this is
Israel does not have progressive values. Israel is I'm going to take the step. I'm going to do it. I consider myself an expert on certain areas of World War II. Like like Christian nationalism in World War II. I would call myself an expert on that subject, on how the churches interacted with Hitler. Jehovah's Witnesses, Catholicism, and Protestantism, how they interacted with Hitler. I'm an expert on this subject, okay? I know so fucking much about it. I know the color of the suit that some of these religious leaders wore to certain meetings. Hang on.
Any of the progressive values.
And I'm telling you, Israel is effectively a Nazi government. It is indistinguishable. Now, they're not targeting Jews, obviously. They are Jewish predominantly. But they're targeting minorities in an identical way to how the Nazis did. They're even targeting religious groups the same way the Nazis did. They are running a genocide right now. To claim that Israel is a bastion of progressivism is delusion. He cannot believe that, right? There is no way in hell he believes that shit. What a wild thing to say. Congrats on being gay, peeps. Yes, absolutely. Congratulations on the gayness. Hang on. I'm trying to grab this video. There was a race condition on briefcase. I think I might have fixed it. Let's see. Did it work? Did the race condition? No. I don't think I fixed the race condition. Okay, let's continue.
That Israel came up. Israel, the only place that has any of the progressive values that any of you guys share.
That is an insane thing to say, dude.
Really? Wait, this is actually this is perfect. This is perfect
Yes,
because one of the things
tell
that
me.
you told me at the beginning of this conversation was that wokeism was judging people based on characteristics and collective thought. Israel is literally centered around the prioritization of the Jewish people as a matter of policy. That is literally collectivist thought. So
That's interesting. Yeah, it's an ethno-state. It's a what's the word? It's a supremacist nationalist state in the exact same way that Germany was. And fascinatingly, you know, Germany and Israel aren't the only two countries out there who operated off of this. In fact, Israel's excuse for being an ethno-state is we're historically targeted minority group, or we are a historically targeted minority group in the world. And that's 100% true. Absolutely, right? But then they take that additional step to say, we need to control a country. We need an ethno-state. We need to do ethnic cleansing and or genocide to control this specific region. And we aren't going to just accept this specific region. We're going to try to expand. We're going to try to take additional areas and ethnically cleanse the people that live there right now and steal their property. That's not the first time in history this has happened, actually. This happened in Serbia as well. The Serbs were historically marginalized minority groups, and a full Serbian nationalist movement formed in Serbia on the belief that they need to be able to control their own state uniquely and that nobody else should be allowed in government except for Serbians, and that's it, for their own protection. That's fucking nonsense, okay? I'm sorry. I don't care what excuse you have for an ethno-state, for ethnically cleansing people from a region. I don't give a fuck. There is no excuse for an ethno-state. You know, it's not okay when Israel does it. It's not okay when Serbia does it. It's not okay when Germany does it in the 1940s. It's not okay. I'm not going to accept ethno-states, period. If I had it my way, there are a lot of cultural differences between the Arab regions around Israel and the predominantly Jewish regions. If I had it my way, it wouldn't be a two-state solution exactly. It would be a one-state solution where there's a federal government over Gaza, the West Bank, and Israel. And each of those three things is a state in its own right within the federal government. Israel loses the right to control a military or an intelligence apparatus or anything. They have lost that privilege when they started literally genociding people with it. But there would be a federal government over top of Israel, Gaza, and the West Bank that was mixed, that was desegregated, integrated. Mixed military units. The nuclear program would be completely dismantled. It would be taken away completely. That's how I would structure this if it were up to me. And it would take at least 10 years and a lot of pressure from the outside world. And unfortunately, things don't happen on 10-year timelines generally, not intentionally, in the world. You know why? Because the president can only be president for 4 years. So whatever project they start, it has to be able to be completed in 4 years or not risk political capital so that you can be reelected 4 years later. So this project would risk so much political capital. People would not like this. Republicans would lose their fucking minds. Christian Zionists would lose it. If you did this as the president, you would only be in for 4 years, period, and it's going to take 10. So this project is never actually going to be done, unfortunately.
You must hate Israel too. You must think that that's the ultimate. Let me
ask you something.
form of collective identity, right?
How many Muslim countries are there? How many Muslim countries?
So you're just pivoting?
No.
Yeah, I don't know what this has to do with anything or why it fucking matters. I don't know. 10? No, I think Muslim majority countries, many. Muslim controlled governments, not very many actually. 3, maybe? Afghanistan is controlled by the Taliban, although that's debatable technically. Saudi Arabia is a theocracy run by Islam. Is that it? That might actually be it. The rest are Muslim majority and have, the Muslim people in them, the Muslim leadership has a lot of sway in them. Iran is Muslim. Yeah, Iran, Afghanistan, and Saudi Arabia. Maybe those are the only 3. Sorry, I can't believe I forgot Iran. That's certainly who he's getting at, right? But, I think Turkey is majority Muslim, right? So is Indonesia and the UAE and a billion others.
I'm going to answer
But
your
wait,
question.
is Israel collectivist?
How many Muslim countries are there?
I'm sure there are a lot of Muslim countries
Do you have
because
any idea?
there are a lot more Muslims than Jews.
Yeah, well, just ballpark. How many Muslim countries are there?
I would probably maybe say let's say between 10 to 20 maybe.
All right,
That's a fair, I think 10.
You're off by about 40. There's about 52 or 53 Muslim countries.
Yeah.
Let me see. Hold on. Let's find out. It depends on how you're defining it, right? Let me see if I can find an answer to this. I'm curious. It depends on how you count, obviously, but people generally say there are 47 to 50, depending on the source and how you treat borderline cases. If they say 57 Muslim countries are citing OIC membership, Organization of Islamic Cooperation, that's the number you hear thrown around a lot. Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nigeria, Indonesia, so on and so forth. Biggest by population is the point. But there are only 2 or 3 Islamic governments.
In any of those countries, how's it going for minorities, women, gays, Christians, Jews?
Yeah, I can say that other nations, it's extraordinarily repressive. But we got
to pause there. We got to pause there. You've been voted out by the majority.
Okay.
Please return to your seat.
It's been fun.
Well, that was interesting. Yeah, tell me what you think about it in the comments. That dude was pretty decent. That wasn't too bad. If you want to see the next one, stick around. That's coming. All right, let's continue.
It's been fun.
All right, let me give an intro. Dave Rubin debated a bunch of quote-unquote far leftists or whatever. Let's see how this goes. Yes, I was right. Iran, Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia. I looked it up. After that, it gets fuzzy. Interesting.
It's been fun. Oh, she had it. She had it. All right.
Dave.
All right. Hi.
Good to meet you. I'm actually a big fan. I've been watching you since all the way back in the Sam Harris era.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, shit, dude. He was on the left in that era. I was watching him back then, too. That's funny.
And then I remember you
softening me up. Okay.
No, you brought on Stephen Molyneux, the white nationalist, and I was like, this guy just loves ideas. He just loves all different types of ideas.
Oh, that's funny. I love it, dude. He's very famous for saying, "My brain is still in recovery mode from all the high-level ideas." After he left the left, quote unquote, his high-level ideas that he was in recovery mode from were white nationalism. From Stephen Molyneux. Just a vile, disgusting piece of shit. I'm so glad that dude fell off. He was fucking evil. And he was a bit of a cult leader, too. Believe it or not.
I love that. But yeah, just wanted to talk right now specifically about the difference between progressive values and the MAGA coalition.
Sure.
It seems to me that all of the ills that are attributed to wokeism are typically things that people find annoying. So people being overly, policey about their pronoun usage or talking about specific groups that might seem extremely marginalized. That's what I typically hear from the right. I don't hear like a degradation of like society unless it's the far theocratic right. And I don't think that you ascribe to that. Would you call yourself a theocrat?
I mean, I wrote the best-selling book on classical liberalism, so it's funny, I get called a conservative all the time.
You are a fucking conservative, Dave. Quit pretending otherwise, really. It's painfully stupid.
Actually happen to be a liberal in the truest sense of liberal.
You should join the circle.
And well,
he's not a liberal. When he says liberally, well, what he really means is classical liberal, which means conservative. It's like using the term neoliberal. That's not liberal. That's something very different than liberal, than our collective understanding of the word liberal. Neoliberal, classical liberal, they're all different. And trying to smuggle in the term liberal by calling himself a classical liberal tells me that either he doesn't know what the fuck that word even means, or he's intentionally being deceptive here.
Well, progressives are not liberal as a general rule of thought. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I just feel like that type of like annoyance that wokeism presents to the world is a lot less dangerous than like, I don't know, the coalition that you're a part of that like condemns people for having children when they're in gay marriages.
Which is exactly what happened to Dave Rubin, yes.
Or says things like, people that are of particular sexual orientations don't deserve the same equal rights.
Well,
would you say that that's something that's dangerous?
A coalition is going to have all sorts of people in it. So it's like MAGA, if we were talking
ideological diversity,
Yeah, if we were talking about what MAGA is, what I like about MAGA actually is that it's not a specific set of you have to believe this exact set, right?
I'm sorry, fucking what? It is a fascist ideology, and fascism at the end of the day is conform or else. Conform or else. We don't think that being gay is good for society, so you need to conform to our standards and expectations and way of life or get the fuck out. We have the unique right to control the country. You don't. And who we is varies from person to person, but at a bare minimum, it's Donald Trump within MAGA. At a bare minimum, it's anybody to the right of hunting immigrants for sport. Fascism is the ultimate collectivist movement. And right now, the left in the United States has been centered around freedom of choice. If I'm gay, I want the right to be able to live my life as a gay person without being harassed and attacked and mistreated and all of that shit. That's what the left is all about in the United States right now. He's got this exactly backwards, and I have to wonder if that's intentional, if he's like lying about it or if he's just that fucking uninformed. I'm being polite by saying that, by giving him that grace.
Right.
You have to believe these exact
some people in MAGA can
things.
believe like gay couples can have kids, and others can believe like that's degeneracy and those people need to be jailed.
Well,
those are like the difference of ideas. That we're
well,
talking
actually,
about?
the tough answer to that is yes.
Oh.
As long as you're not trying to litigate someone's life. I am around a lot.
Brother, that's literally exactly what they were doing. They were litigating your life, Dave. You certainly remember that, right? They tore his life apart when he announced that he was having children. He was adopting a child, I think, with his gay spouse. And they destroyed him for it. It was insane. I honestly had never seen that level of backlash against a right-wing figure from the right. I don't know how he survived it, truthfully. It was insane.
conservatives all the time, and
Right.
particularly Christian conservatives, let's say, they generally are not for gay marriage. By the way, there's not one mosque in the United States that performs gay marriages, which is worth noting.
Why are you so focused on Muslims today?
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. That's not a problem in the United States because Muslims have absolutely no power in the US. Yes, do I want them to change that? Absolutely. But getting mosques to perform gay marriages isn't even the first step on the road to changing that. You have to change so much shit about the culture to get this to work. I don't care about that right now. I care about the people who are in power, MAGA, the right-wing extremist fucking nutcases that you support, you know those people. I care about getting them to let people live the life they want to live. That's what I care about.
Well, I'm just giving you
Okay,
giving
gotcha.
you a fact. But what I have found consistently, Donald Trump was the incoming first-time president that was for gay marriage.
I actually really want to talk about that.
Barack Obama was not for gay marriage
Yeah.
when he first came in.
And not until
That's true. He wasn't. Barack Obama was not in favor of gay marriage when he came in. And Donald Trump says that he is in favor of gay marriage, but all the policies that he supports are anti-gay marriage. All the people that he put into his cabinet are anti-gay marriage. All of the people and policies that Obama supports are pro-gay marriage. So which one should you be voting for? Which one's materially going to make your life better? The entire swath of policy and cabinet members who are opposed to you just living your fucking life, or the policy and cabinet members who are in favor of it?
So
2013.
what I would say is the MAGA movement. I mean, look, Scott Bessent, who's the Treasury Secretary, is married to a man and has kids. Peter
Is he really?
Thiel is married to a man and has kids. Douglas Murray is one of the greatest voices we have in conservatism,
Yeah.
happens to be gay.
Yeah.
I don't, for the most part, people
I
on
mean, you're listing outlying cases. They've not. I didn't even know about those people. And you know why I didn't know that about them? Because they don't publicize it. Because they know they're going to be harassed out of fucking existence if people find out about that shit. It just as Dave Rubin learned the hard way, right?
the right actually believe in individual rights and don't really care.
No, they do not believe in individual rights. To say such a thing is complete and total, unadulterated delusion.
Most part, people on the right actually believe in individual rights and don't really care. But that doesn't
See,
mean
that's
that,
where you've lost me, though,
that
because
doesn't mean
you-
that everyone has to have the same religious perspective on everything.
But you've been around the block for a long time, and just like you alluded to, in 2016, Trump held up a flag that said LGBTQ for Trump. He
Yeah.
was asked in a CBS interview, would you let Caitlyn Jenner use the bathroom that she wants to in your hotels? He said absolutely. He didn't have a problem with that.
He actually gave a better answer than that. He said, "I'm a hotel builder. If you told me I had to build one bathroom, that would be fine with me." I think it's a great answer.
But that's what's crazy is that evolution has changed so much to the current MAGA movement. The MAGA
How do you
movement
see
today,
that?
Donald Trump would absolutely not say that somebody could use the bathroom aligned with their gender identity.
Not only would he not say that, he has actively said, he has actively used the trans community as a bludgeon to hurt the left. He has gone full Christian nationalist with the garbage that he spews about the trans community. Donald Trump has recently. Even, he's been doing this for like a while now, honestly.
He specifically banned that, and not just that,
Yeah.
but he's also just called for he specifically wrote an executive order that classifies far leftist groups like pro-transgender groups
Yeah.
as a danger to the country,
Right.
which often the entire military can go after. That is insane. That is absolutely
That's true.
a violation of people's individual rights.
All right, so you want to talk about the trans issue sort of broadly, I
I want to talk about
No. He doesn't want to talk about the trans issue broadly. Did you miss it? You got gummy bears in your ears? That is not what he said at all. He said Donald Trump is not pro-gay, pro-LGBT generally. And for you to wander around pretending otherwise is embarrassing. Oops, sorry.
the MAGA
What
coalition
I
that
can
claims
tell you-
to be
what I can tell you-
pro-individual liberty,
Right.
yet wants to police the way that people express
But what are they
themselves,
doing?
that also wants to police
but
people's
what-
bodies,
yeah.
that want to go after people specifically because of their ethnicity.
Right.
None of that should
okay,
be
so
tolerated.
Donald Trump is in the middle of his second term. Gay marriage is here. It's passed. It's a just
Then
cause.
why
I
are so
believe
many-
in it.
Yeah, okay, and who the fuck passed it? And which coalition is fighting to get rid of it? Obviously, it was litigated through the Supreme Court under Obama, I believe. And Donald Trump's coalition, the MAGA coalition, is trying to erase it from existence right now. You know, Lance Wallnau, the Christian nationalist nutcases, they are actively setting out to try to get rid of gay marriage.
Individual
Wait,
rights.
wait, you're friends with Michael
they're-
Knowles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what's that coalition again called? I think it's like Less Equal, that's trying to actually get rid of Obergefell and overturn gay marriage rights. Does that not concern you?
Well, first off, I've never heard of that specific organization, but what I can tell you...
You're friends with them!
Wait a minute. I've never heard of this either, actually, surprisingly. Let me listen.
That's right.
Is here.
Yeah, so what's that coalition again called? I think it's like Less Equal, that's trying to actually get rid of Obergefell and overturn gay marriage rights. Does that not concern you?
Well, first off, I've never heard of that specific organization, but what I can tell you...
You're friends.
Okay, let me find out what this is about. I've never heard of this before, but it sounds fascinating. Less Equal. Oh shit, Michael Knowles did a oh shit! Michael Knowles did a Jubilee as well. Hold on. I gotta find this shit. This was oh my god, dude. YouTube sucks. This is a year old. I didn't know this happened. That is very interesting.
I'm gay married. Ooh. Right? Like
Okay, yeah, we may watch this later. That's very interesting. I'm not sure what he's referring to. I haven't heard of that either, and I can't find anything about it specifically.
With them.
Michael is part of. I just don't know what you're talking about. But what
You
I
can
would
look it up right
but
now.
what I would
it's
say
called
is
Less Than.
no.
And
There
it's
are,
Lila Rose, Michael
Yeah.
Knowles. I think it's what's that guy's name at the Daily Wire, the head one?
But okay, but that's not Donald Trump.
I understand that you
that's-
want to go away
no,
from this.
No. That's not
topic.
Donald Trump. That's not the head of the party. I have friends that. Well, first off, Michael and I are friends, but there is a cap on our friendship. There
How are
actually
you
is.
friends with someone who doesn't want you to be in love,
No,
my man?
He doesn't want me to be in love. He's had dinner
Look,
at
Dave,
my house with his wife. My husband cooked for him.
That's against God.
Yeah.
So I want to have a
But
word with him.
no.
real quick.
But think
first-
about what you're saying. I
but
get
Dave,
it. No,
real quick.
think about what I'm saying.
But what I want
in
to say is,
your
I'm
name.
not
Wait.
coming after you.
Hold on, champ. You know, in your world of how tolerant you are showing me you are, you're actually showing a remarkable amount of intolerance because although
Oh, fucking please, really?
I don't know the group that you're talking about.
No, it's called Greater Than. The group is called Greater Than. It's a coalition, and the Less Equal thing is the framing in their messaging, apparently. It's a coalition of 47 right-wing groups operating under the name Greater Than, with a coordinated campaign to reverse the Supreme Court's 2015 marriage equality ruling. Okay.
Michael Knowles, as a human being, has been to my house, and my husband has cooked him lamb.
Hold on. I'm just going to grab this.
Michael Knowles, as a human being, has been to my house, and my husband has cooked him lamb, and we have enjoyed evenings together and shared personal moments and all of those things. Now, do we agree on absolutely everything? Of course the answer.
Well, this is a pretty fundamental thing to disagree on, honestly. The idea that you can't, like, just live your life and be a normal human being and just like everybody else. He's literally trying to completely fucking destroy your way of life entirely. Give me a minute. I'll be back in 1 second. I'm going to write this down. It's 13:32. I'm actually going to grab some food real fast. I will be right back, okay? Okay, be right back.
answer to that is no. And if Michael or anyone else was trying to lead some organization that was going to go against my civil rights, well, that is where obviously we would have our difference of opinion, of course.
Dave, I
also respect people's religious beliefs. They're allowed to have their religious beliefs. Their religious beliefs are not allowed to legislate my life. This is all very separate from the trans thing, which obviously I sense is going to come up a few more times.
I'll just say real quick, I'm not trying to come after you. I believe that you should have the full liberty to have the family of your choice. But what I will say is I'm glad Michael treats you with respect individually when you guys are together. But when he goes in front of his platform and says that a video of 2 gay men having a child is the most disgusting thing that he's ever seen, which is a quote, you can look up the tweet. Michael said that that child is in one of the most dangerous situations he can think of, which is crazy to think of all the abusive parents that actually live in this society, regardless of sexual orientation. And you're going to look at a happy family and say, this is disgusting. That should feel like a violation.
Okay, so I didn't see that video, but if what you're asking me is do I agree with, if let's just say what you said is true, do I agree with Michael's point on that? Of course the answer is no.
But that is the MAGA coalition.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
That
is the ideology.
No, that's not the coalition. No, that's not the coalition. No, that's not the coalition.
That is what the administration is pushing
you're taking
towards.
a very specific person and you're saying.
Is it a small specific?
Oh,
is it
absolutely.
Fringe?
Yes.
No, it is not.
Yes. Oh, it is.
A majority.
No, that's completely absurd. That's
is
completely
not.
absurd. It's
Okay,
completely absurd.
We got to pause there. You've been voted out by the majority. Please
Give me
return
two.
to
All
your
right.
seat.
Good grab.
I want to go to your prompt in a second, but I just wanted to address, I actually come from a Christian background. I spend a lot of my career debating Christian nationalists. And even the nicest Christian nationalists, they do want to take your rights. I spend a lot of time talking to these people, even the really nice ones. So I just want to be careful, and I guess I want to say, I remember when you posted about having your kids on Twitter, which congratulations.
Yeah,
on your
thanks.
Kids. The comments were horrifying. I don't know if you remember, but it was Christian nationalists and Republicans tearing you and your husband down for having a child.
Well, you should also note there was a lot of love. There was an awful lot of love from an awful lot of conservatives and liberals and people across the board and everything else. The way the internet operates is people only focus on the negative. So was there a whole bunch of nasty
Which
comments?
side did it
was
come
there a
from
whole
more?
bunch of nasty?
Do you guess? Let's be honest. Let's just be honest. Which side supports
for
it
that? If you're asking me about for that specific post, it was
and liberals.
for that specific post, it was mostly people on the right, for sure. It was.
who are attacking you.
Yeah, I
course.
fully acknowledge that.
Of course.
Absolutely. 99% of the hate that I get is from people that are in this circle.
Sure, but it's definitely not for being gay.
What?
It's,
No.
It's
Well,
for supporting.
no.
Going back to the prompt.
No.
It's for supporting.
It's not for being gay, like
an
the act
authoritarian,
of gay.
desiring, probably demented old man. So going back to the prompt of wokeism, it seems like you defined it as intersectionality, some collectivization based on demographic factors.
We could basically
So
go with that.
wokeism is intersectionality.
It is a piece, intersectionality is a piece of wokeism. If you're going to group people on these immutable characteristics, and then you decide based on this, we got to put black people up here, we've got to put white guys down here, gays are going to be above the straights, trans will be above the gays, you have this
And what
endless
specific
hierarchy.
policy harms have happened?
I mean, quite literally, the easiest one would be college admissions. I mean, we know that Harvard and other colleges were discriminating against mostly white and Asian students because they wanted more diversity, and they were allowing students of color with lesser grades to get in. As a general rule,
If we're worried about universities, who's cutting their funding?
Well, hold
who's
on. Do you agree that happened?
To some degree, I think it was overblown to a large degree.
Yeah,
Because affirmative action basically ended, I think, in the early 2000s, right? A lot of these issues were clamped down on pretty quickly. And the issue is that when you look at the reason why...
you could look at corporations. I mean, all these corporations that have their DEI stickers. I was just on a Delta flight. They still have their DEI sticker on there.
DEI is not inherently a bad thing. Why would diversity ever be a problem for anyone?
Well, diversity in and of itself is not a problem. But if you say we are going
what about inclusion?
We are going to hire people and we are going to factor in all of these immutable characteristics inherently by saying we're going to elevate one group of people, you are going to have to discriminate against another group of people.
Do you have a diverse...
And that actually is racism
Do you have a diverse,
bigotry.
unique experience based on your gayness that other people will never have?
I'm sorry?
Does your gayness give you insight into certain experiences that other people simply will not have because they're not gay?
Well, I suppose as a gay person, I do have experiences that some people don't have.
And you
Yes.
probably have knowledge
That was
and
funny.
experiences.
Did you not catch that?
I
You
did
didn't-
get
you
the joke.
kinda- you got that? Okay.
I mean, lots of
Okay.
people do all sorts of
Yeah.
crazy
Okay.
sex. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
But the issue is that what we're talking about here when we come to diversity.
But I wouldn't want that
is
to
a
have
benefit.
anything. I wouldn't want that to have anything to do with me being hired. Or
Sure,
me
but it's
being
really
allowed
hard to
into a
compare. So,
school.
sir, let's say I granted
Yeah.
you all of the woke harms.
Yeah.
The issue is that it didn't take us to Iran. It didn't kill schoolgirls. It didn't, right now, crush with the FCC and kick multiple people off of air and threaten to pull things. It's not burning books in
Wait,
Florida.
Who's been kicked off air?
Jimmy Kimmel got kicked off of air. ABC was regularly under threat for doing these things. The FCC president,
ABC made a
president
decision.
came out after
Jimmy
Trump
Kimmel-
called
but
him
Jimmy
and
Kimmel's
said
on air.
that we
Jimmy
can't have these
Kimmel's
type of
on air.
things. They crushed James Tallarico. But this has happened over and over again. There
What do
are
you mean? They
books
crushed
being
James
burned.
Tallarico. James Tallarico is the nominee right now.
They crushed his appearance.
What do you mean they crushed
The
his
FCC
appearance?
wouldn't allow his appearance.
I don't know what you're talking about. I have literally no idea
guess
what you're
look
talking
it
about.
up.
We got to pause there.
Yeah.
I think you were talking about Colbert's show, but you've been voted out by the majority.
Okay.
You guys are slow, bro. How's it going, Dave?
You're quick. How you doing? How you doing?
So, I just quickly wanted to recognize, I love this, by the way. You have a very unconventional household, and wokeism has brought you that household, right? To live with your husband, to have your 2 children, who are conceived through surrogacy, and I appreciate that.
Wokeism didn't bring that. Equal
Yeah, it did.
rights. Equal rights.
So
brought that,
wokeism is,
equality.
as I define it, as I
Yeah.
view it personally, is looking to expand on already existing civil liberties, right? To ensure that, to ensure America practices what it preaches, equal protections, inclusion of everybody, democracy, et cetera. So it's not a policy prescription, it's a social prescription. Donald Trump is president. He's the head of the executive branch. He has a trifecta, a judiciary that's on his side. Donald Trump's violent. Donald Trump's destroying the pillars of America, democracy, negative rights, the rule of law, our Constitution. The list goes on and on. So I'm just curious to see what institutional damage has wokeism done? And
Sure.
if
Well,
you want to engage with Trump being violent, that'd be nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just don't agree with anything you said there, period. First off, wokeism isn't what led to, say, gay marriage. What led to gay marriage is a fight for equality under the law. If you believe that heterosexual marriage, that an adult should be able to engage in any sort of contract with another adult, then that has to be equal. That's what equal protection, which you just mentioned, is. And that's actually what the decision was based on.
Yes.
So that was not wokeism. That was the promise of America, which is the promise of individual rights and equal opportunity. As for a few of the other things that you said there, again, if we could do you want to do the Iran thing again.
No, I said Donald Trump is violent.
Yeah, so Donald Trump is violent in what sense? How is
So
Donald
I
Trump
also want to
violent?
mention
Yeah.
the reason why you left the left, correct me if I'm wrong, is because you believe progressives were turning to authoritarianism. Am I correct there?
I mean,
That was your PragerU video. You said it. You can't deny it.
Settle down, Chip. There was
Come
a
on.
panoply of reasons that I did.
But that's one of them, correct?
Yeah.
Do you think it's authoritarian for the president of the United States to call for the death of 6 active members of the legislature for making a video that is totally fine and legal?
It's interesting. Oh, well, first off, you're talking about the video where they basically
Mark Kelly,
Mark
yeah.
Kelly and several of these guys were basically saying if you're in the military, you can go against Trump and all those things. Well, first off, there are some legal actual reasons that perhaps you should not, as a former member of the military, be telling.
Yeah, the punishment for making videos is death.
Yeah.
I forgot.
I'm sorry. Did anyone?
Hang him. George Washington would. Am I right, guys?
Did anyone get put to death?
Does it matter? The president of the United States is actively calling for the death of members of the legislature that oppose him?
Is anyone in trouble? Is anyone in trouble because of that? You're missing the difference.
No, you're saying Donald Trump.
Okay,
hold on.
Hang on.
Let's just understand the prompt here. You said wokeism has done more damage than Donald Trump ever did.
So explain
Can you tell
the
me
damage.
a single time wokeism is
you haven't
doing something remotely similar?
So remotely similar as Donald
You want
Trump
damage?
being slightly
You want damage?
sarcastic.
I can give you damage.
Let me explain something.
I can give you the
Let me-
damage. Hold on.
Hold
We're running out of time.
on.
Listen.
Let me explain something to you. Donald Trump, all you need to know about, for any one of you guys that think that Donald Trump's coming for you because you're gay or you're trans or something like that, or you're black or anything else, might I recommend you just read Art of the Deal, which Donald Trump wrote about 40 years ago.
It's terrible. It's just discussing his activities throughout the week.
You can dismiss it. You can dismiss it. But Donald Trump gave you his playbook 40 plus years ago. 40 plus years ago, he gave you the playbook on how he negotiates. He leads with crazy
So this is irrelevant
things.
to what I'm currently talking about, right?
No, it's completely.
No, you asked me about damage. I can give you examples, but you don't want them because you know you're going to get fried.
No.
No, that is the truth.
It's completely
Donald Trump
irrelevant.
tried to rewrite the Constitution via executive order with Executive Order 14160. And it was followed up by 141601, where they used this to target individuals for pro-Palestinian speech like Mahmoud Khalil. And this was already ruled upon, by the way.
All right.
I'm sure you know about this, correct?
Okay,
But
first
he
off,
tried to
there is
rewrite the Constitution via
there
executive
is-
order. Can the president do that?
There is a
Can
difference.
the president do that?
Hold on. There is a
gotta
difference
let him
between
talk.
exercising free speech.
not answering.
There's a difference between exercising free speech and closing down a campus and not letting students get. You're an interesting character.
Yeah.
Good. No, you seem nice. There's a difference between exercising free speech, which I will always defend your free speech, no matter how noxious it is.
The president
and
doesn't.
closing down
defending the
campuses.
president.
No, they weren't.
Yes.
No, Mahmoud
Yes.
Khalil and all of these masked
He was
Hamas
almost deported with
jihadis-
no cause, and it's literally in the documents
first
of the
off-
case.
Well, first off, Marco Rubio has illustrated the point many, many
Not
times.
true.
If you're here on a green card or a student visa
They
or
cannot
anything
revoke
else,
it with no
you
cause.
don't have the exact same protections that you don't.
Congress
I mean,
shall make no
yeah.
law. What?
No.
Well,
Yeah,
what's-
for people that are citizens of the United
What's the
States of
precedent for
America.
that? What's the precedent for
piece
that?
of-
What's the precedent for that?
Wait a
Nothing.
minute. Wait a minute.
Nothing. So
What-
Donald Trump tried to sign an executive order rewriting the birthright citizenship clause of the 14th Amendment. Where did he get this power?
Let me ask you something. Do you
Is
think?
it
let me ask you
authoritarian
something. Let me
to
ask you
act
something.
on a
Let me
self-granted
ask you something.
authority?
Hold on,
Is it-
hold on, hold on.
is it- can
hold
you
on.
answer my question?
Hold on.
You're not going to.
You're
Yeah, I
just
got
gotta
it.
let me chat here for a sec.
let
Listen,
Dave-
listen.
Dave talk.
Let me ask you something. Let's try it this way. So let's say you and your girlfriend went on vacation. Bora Bora, you show up to the most beautiful place on earth, and she's 7 months pregnant, and she then gives birth in Bora Bora. You think your child should be a citizen of French Polynesia, Bora Bora?
The
And you
United
think
States
that
affirms that
makes
just
sense?
solely principle, and I'm sorry,
Yeah.
the president cannot defy it because he doesn't
No,
like
the,
it.
the president.
That's how our
the
country
president-
works.
No,
and
you
that
can
is an
fight
example
it.
of damage to
you
America.
can fight it in the courts. You can fight it in the courts.
He doesn't
right?
like the courts. He
Yeah.
ignores them. Prior to the Alien Enemies Act removals, Emile Beauvais.
Okay, we're out of time. We got to stop there.
Okay, got you.
My next surrounded claim is if you still vote for Democrats in 2026, you're voting for broken cities, broken schools, and broken borders.
If you would like to debate this claim, get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, how are you, Santana?
So, can you explain a little bit about what you mean broken cities, broken schools, broken borders?
Sure. Well, broken cities, I would basically, you can boil it down to crime and drug use. And I can tell you, having been in here in Los Angeles for the last 36 hours, I have seen more homeless people, more drug use, more urban decay than I have seen in the last 5 years combined
What state do you
living
currently
in
live in?
Florida.
Florida?
Yeah.
Got it.
In terms of schools, it's basically brainwashing kids and teaching them what to think instead of teaching them how to think. And then what was the third one in terms of, borders is the easiest one. I mean, under the Biden administration, we let in somewhere, we don't even know what the actual number is, but somewhere between 16 to 20 million illegals.
I just realized my
if Donald
stream
Trump
was taken
did
down
quite
on,
literally nothing else in his
My stream was taken down on YouTube. Because of copyright. Jubilee, they're copyright hawks. They're obnoxious. It'll come back in a second. Maybe back. Is it back now? No. I don't think it's back quite yet. Yeah, just give it a second to kind of equalize or whatever. Once it realizes that it's not playing anymore, it won't be temporarily blocked. That kind of sucks because this is really interesting. I love covering this stuff. I'm not sure. There's no good way to cover this outside of Twitch, I guess. Tell you what I'm going to do, though. First of all, I can't walk away. I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have walked away during this. But for now, let's cover something else. I posted a bunch of stuff here. Let me find it. Wait, it says it's not blocked anymore. But is it gone? Are we gone? No. Yes. No, we're good. We're back. Okay. It looks like we're good. Sorry. Can you hear me? All right. Sorry about that. It's Jubilee. They don't like people talking about them, apparently. So we'll have to talk about something else. For now. I was looking for... I covered something recently, and I was looking for... Let's see. Is this what it was? What's this?
Hall, and you have to hear it. Delaney Hall.
Wait, why can't I hear it now? Oh. Got it.
Here at Delaney Hall, and you have to hear what this counter-protester, this...
He's wearing a 3 Arrows hat. That was the symbol of the Social Democrats militant group in Germany in the 30s.
Trump supporter just said.
Child rapist. You're all terrorist sympathizers, and you love it. He's a pedophile. He's a child rapist. You're so ridiculous. I don't give a fuck if Donald Trump is a pedophile. If every person in there is a fucking criminal,
wow.
I'd rather have one pedophile than 1,000 criminals. You just
Wow. He would rather have one pedo in office than 1,000 left-wing criminals? Get fucking help, bro. Hang on, there was other stuff. God, what was the stuff I wanted to cover? It was really big at the time. Hang on, let me see if I can find... let's go to the twit and look for Tina Peters. Yep, she's got shit going on now.
Sure that this sentence is a result of the actual...
Hold on. Yep, she does. Oh boy. Let's cover Tina Peters. Let me just grab these videos real fast. Okay, grab this one.
Crime committed. In this case,
grab this one. And this one. This isn't the same one, is it? It is the same one. What's this?
Can somehow get all the way to the other side of the board without getting taken out, they become a queen. And as a queen, you have all the maneuverability, the most maneuverability of any piece on the board. You are the most dangerous piece in a chess game. And now if you've got 2 queens or more, Tina's about to exponentially increase the power within the legal cases.
What? Wait, Alex Jones. Is this one about Tina Peters? This is 15 hours ago. Let's grab this too. Yeah, let's talk about Tina Peters. Oh my God, dude. It's giving me so much shit trying to download stuff. This is annoying. I don't know what the fuck is going on right now. Why is it not downloading? Let's check this Alex Jones. Let's check this Alex Jones episode here. What's he got going on? What is this? Okay, let's watch this just for a couple of minutes. Oh, this is... He talks about Tina Peters here. Interesting.
But first, calling balls and strikes. They analyze it in 5 of years.
High bars that connect.
Here's the Tina Peters information. Now, this is because that's on X and alexshowslive.com/show live and Real Alex Jones on X and alexshowslive.com/show and share that because that is what the information war is about. Take action now. This is an info warrior, unstoppable. You're the key.
So Alex Jones covered Tina Peters recently. I want to listen to what he had to say. It's going to be wild, dude. If you don't know Tina Peters, she directly tampered with the election on behalf of Donald Trump to help him. She gave Mike Lindell secret voter data and stuff as a county clerk. It was bad. Anyway, she's out of jail now. She received clemency, not a pardon, but she was let out of jail early, basically, because Donald Trump was pushing for it. And Alex Jones has something to say about it.
AllShowsLive.com/show and share that, because that is what the information war is about. Take action now. This is an info warrior, unstoppable. You're the key. Here's the Tina Peters information.
The last person still behind bars in connection with efforts to challenge the 2020 election results is now out of prison.
Dude, I don't know what this is from, but no. This was not an effort to challenge election results. This was her stealing private voter data and using her position as county clerk to do it. It was illegal as fucking shit.
Colorado prison officials confirm former Mesa County election clerk Tina Peters was released earlier today after serving time on state convictions. Peters was convicted of conspiring with others to access county voting systems tied to claims of election fraud. She was sentenced to nearly 9 years in prison. Officials say she had received a symbolic federal pardon, but remained in state custody until her release.
Tina, tell us what's it like to be finally a free woman.
You know, Steve, I'm not even sure yet. After 606 days in prison, it's been quite the ordeal. But I really want to thank God for His faithfulness and getting.
For God's faithfulness? I don't think that's how that works.
Me through it. And, it's been, I think probably for me, Steve, to impress upon every person out there how hard it is to lose your liberty, how easy it is to lose your liberty, but how hard it is.
How easy it is to lose your liberty, really. Oh my God. God damn it, dude. It just reversed. It went right back to the beginning. This is very frustrating. Let me find the right spot again. Here it is. Tina, this is on you. This is 100% completely and totally your fault in every way, shape, and form. You did this. You were guilty. You did not have the right to steal private voter data and just give it to random fucking right-wing scumbags. Hold on.
In prison, it's been quite the ordeal, but I really want to thank God for His faithfulness and getting me through it. And it's been, I think probably for me, Steve, to impress upon every person out there how hard it is to lose your liberty, how easy it is to lose your liberty, but how hard it is to endure it. And, and I'm so grateful to the supporters out there that have stood with me. My close circle, Marcy, my best friend, who I called every day. After they kept putting me in the hole, she made me promise to call her in the morning and at night every day.
Why were they putting her in the hole, I wonder? Was she, refusing to cooperate at all? The fact, they used the hole as a punishment mechanism. If you're doing something bad, if you're refusing to cooperate, if you're fighting people all the time or whatever other thing, they will put you in the hole. They'll put you in there for other reasons too, protective custody and things like that. But I have to wonder, why was Tina Peters going to the hole, of all people? And if she was going to the hole, as she says, why did she get out early? That's for people on good behavior.
So people that wanted to get me a message could always reach her. And of course, with Apollo and Jared and Barbara and, the other ones that have stood by me, and especially my attorneys. John Case has visited me almost every week while I was in prison, and then the financial support. I still have a fight to go. I still, even though Governor Polis reduced my sentence from 9 years to 4.5 years, I still have a fight to clear my name.
To clear your fucking name? Are you kidding me? It's been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that you intentionally stole private voter data and gave it to right-wing extremists to use to how they see fit. That is illegal, and it should be illegal.
And bring out the truth of why they came after me the way they did.
She's learned nothing. She has learned absolutely fucking nothing. She still doesn't get it, does she? That what she did is illegal. It's against the fucking law. You cannot do that shit. I think it's clear she would do it again, right? She learned nothing. Clemency is supposed to be for people who've learned their lesson, or for people who were sentenced to a harsher sentence than they deserve for one reason or another. She should not have received clemency.
So it's still a long road. I'm going to spend the next few weeks regaining my health, and just being with loved ones and family, and it's a miracle. It really is for Jared Polis. He pardoned 35 people, and he gave clemency to 9, and I was one of the 9. And you see the horrible media and the haters that don't go after.
That's us.
After, murderers and people like that.
Whoa, I go after murderers and pedophiles all the time. That's why I talk about Trump as much as I do. What are you talking about? And also, you are making a spectacle of yourself intentionally. You are trying to draw attention to yourself over this. You want the attention. You crave it. You can't live without it. And people should know what kind of a scumbag you really are. I don't want to hear it.
That he chose to pardon, but they go after me. So there is a concern there for my well-being and my safety.
Fucking please.
But I'm just very, very grateful. Very grateful to all of you. Thank you, Steve, for standing through with me through all of this.
All right, another political.
What? Just vile piece of shit, dude. Disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting that she was allowed out of prison. And that Alex Jones is apparently covering her favorably, it seems, right? Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. Just insane. Let's see if Alex Jones has more. I'm not sure if he does or not.
Prisoner released. We'll be back with Victor Boot.
There is a war raging for jets.
God, the AI footage. Oh, is this Waco? I think this is Waco, Texas. Maybe not. I think this is. I remember this. This is Gaza right after October 7th. They were destroying it. Okay, here.
Never came out here. And I knew these conversations happened before. This little part said it was close to 9
I'm sorry, I'm trying to find where it starts.
Missiles, drones pounding the capital of Ukraine. It was 8 days ago that the Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov told the State Department, get all of your people out of Kiev now. It was Victor Boot about 4+ months ago said, looking at the strategy military expert, businessman, equivalent of like Russian Eric Prince, that if a deal wasn't made in the next 3, 4, 5 months, that Russia would just go in and take the whole country, which they don't want. They've already tried to make deals with the U.S. to come in and be a guarantor of peace and no more NATO expansion, something promised.
What? Russia wants the U.S. to come in as a guarantor of peace in Ukraine. What are you smoking, dude? Really? What a wild fucking thing to say.
In 1991, but it was violated by Victoria Nuland and others. So this is a big deal, but it all hooks in to Israel 95 days ago launching an attack. The next day we go in. Strait of Hormuz closed. Iran has won strategically through attrition. I notice Netanyahu has not denied it. Trump has not denied it. The Israel operatives have said arrest whoever leaked it. Well, it was Trump to Axios. Axios is CIA, folks. Trump saying you're an effing crazy. You're killing all these civilians. You'll blow up a whole apartment building to kill one guy. You'd be in prison if it wasn't for me. Obviously, Trump is looking for an off-ramp here. And I knew these conversations happened previously, but never came out. This happened. And so it's not about a facelift for Trump suddenly doing the right thing. It's about ending the Iran situation, the war, which is all part of a larger proxy hybrid war with Russia and China.
The Iran war is part of a proxy war with Russia and China? I'm sorry, what? I have no idea what... I'm trying to connect the dots. Maybe that's true. But that's... I'm sorry, no. I'm having a hard time accepting that. That sounds like nonsense to me.
And it's about stopping this before it derails the entire global economy, which it may already be too late.
It is too late, yes.
So this is a big deal. Trump and Netanyahu in a call on Israel striking Lebanon. You're effing crazy because they're killing the peace deal. So now we enter the main danger zone of the Israel lobby, staging a new 9/11 which could even be nuclear, mass attacks.
I'm sorry, did he just say staging 9/11? Is that what he just said?
Danger zone of the Israel lobby, staging a new 9/11.
Oh, staging a new 9/11. Got it.
Could even be nuclear, mass attacks. You have the Defense Authorization Act that literally has Israel given control from DARPA in development right down to secret weapons to satellites in real time, integration of intelligence and synchronization. And I knew what this meant, but I called some folks in Army Special Operations and others. They said, no, this is treason. So Israel's response
Dude, what the fuck is he talking about right now? I am so lost.
Everybody lining up against him and waking up to them is to try to have a full coup over America. 38 states have passed laws that if you're a government contractor that builds highways, whatever, you criticize Israel anyway, you're not given any contracts. Israel is preparing an attempted eat the elephant takeover of the United States. It is total insanity. But I want to just add all these geopolitical ingredients. You got Putin repeating statements that...
Dude, how do right-wingers unironically listen to this and believe a word out of his fucking mouth? Like, half the shit he's saying right now... I'm sorry, there's a loud car. For a second. Half the shit he's saying right now doesn't even make sense. Like, the words do not fit next to each other.
We don't want war with Europe. That's insane. It's your own elites feeding on you. Culturally, if you're being persecuted in the West, you can come to Russia. Just incredible statements there. We're going to get into all of it and where the world is right now, because Trump knows his poll numbers are destroyed. He's destroyed his whole base. He signed on to the neocons that set him up and lied to him. That isn't defending Trump. That's the facts. He really believed it. He told Tucker and others that told me this. Oh, no, we're going to win. Don't worry. It'll last 4 days. And Tucker told him, that's insane. So this is where we are. And I'm crazy and I'm a loser.
Well, those things are true, irrespective of whatever is going on right now.
And I've got a low IQ and I'm...
You got it. You're hitting the nail on the head there, Alex.
Pride, and I'm an enemy. But now suddenly Trump is starting to wake up because he understands this is destroying him and his legacy. So we have an opportunity, I think, here.
Oh, fucking please, dude. So Trump is worried about his legacy, is what you're telling me. You think that Trump is worried about his legacy, And for that reason, Trump is going to do the right thing, going to try to fix stuff or whatever. Okay.
And I want to get Victor Boot's take on this and just cover the waterfront, go wherever he wants with this constellation of information I just laid out that all interconnects, and then what he thinks we should look out for. So, Victor, people can find you at Real Victor Boot on X. That your channel's exploded there since you launched it a little over a month ago. Thank you for joining us every few weeks here on Tuesdays, or most weeks. And it's great to have you. I kind of threw out a big gestalt there, and you can go wherever I went, or you can go wherever you want first. But just guessing here, I think front and center for you and the whole world, even more dangerous than the Iran war, it's all part of the larger New World War, is 8 days ago, the Foreign Ministry saying, everybody who's a U.S. citizen, get out now, especially diplomats, because we're getting ready to start going to full war, which has now happened.
Right. Russia said that. Russia sent a message, I believe, saying, get all of your diplomats out. It's another pressure tactic. It's another terror tactic that Putin uses regularly.
I know you probably haven't read it on the exact timeline, but an expert, you can see it yourself, read the tea leaves, on how long we should expect until we see the, not the special military operation, which it's been, but the full war. So, Victor, thank you so much for being here. Go ahead, sir.
Well, first of all, we are not looking for the full war.
Wow, for some reason I did not expect this dude to have a Russian accent. That was wild. That is a Russian accent, right? I didn't listen for long enough to tell definitively. I think so.
Because war is really now changed. Just recently, last week, I had very interesting, discussion on my X account with a very good military expert, and we discuss in depth all the new technologies. It's interesting to just check there. Well, idea what you said very important. First of all, Netanyahu really sabotaged Iran peace deal, and Trump has to intervene at night, calling and shouting at him and saying, "Are you crazy? Stop immediately." And apparently, looks like they really stop. So idea is that the same time as Netanyahu sabotaging, Trump peace deal with Iran, so the Zelensky trying also sabotage the peace deal for his own country, which Trump, even in Anchorage, said that they agreed that they're going to push really to settle this conflict. So now, what is the scenario? So they said, okay, look, how we create a situation where Russia just will, never negotiate with us? Well, it's very simple. Let's start attacking civilians, especially kids. Let's kill the kids.
Wait, is he saying that Ukraine is using terror tactics by killing children? I wonder if he feels the same about Israel, first of all. But second, nonsense. These people will do anything to lie for Putin.
It would be emotional, stuff, and then the Russians will walk out of the negotiation table.
I'm glad I said you'd have the floor, but I apologize. When I was thinking about you coming on a few days ago, I meant to go through the timeline of all these drones show up, hit the building, make the girls run out, and then kill a bunch of them, run them back in, and blow the building up. A premeditated murder of a bunch of Russian girls designed.
Correct.
So why don't you walk through what happened for people that don't know? There's been a media blackout on that.
There's been a media blackout on that. Okay, let me just see if I can... give me a second. Let me see if I can find info on this. I'm not finding a single thing about this. Nothing. If Alex Jones is the only source, we should be skeptical, obviously. Wait a minute. Hold on 1 second. I think I found something here. There's a May 2026 drone strike on a student dormitory in Starobilsk that killed and injured people, according to Russian reports. But nobody knows who's responsible yet. So it sounds like Alex Jones is just making up who's responsible. And also, the mostly girls part, that traces from the Russian government, apparently. And finally, additionally, it's odd to me that Alex Jones is automatically assuming that Russia is the good guy in this scenario. That is so bizarre to me.
Okay, this was a Starobelsk at the night of the 22nd of March when the students of the college just went peacefully sleeping. A total was...
Yeah, they're not targeting civilians. Nobody is... Let me rephrase. Ukraine is not targeting civilians. Nobody even knows who actually hit this dormitory in the first place. If they hit it, that's bad. I don't like that. I don't want that. But I still fully support Ukraine in this war. Russia is the aggressor. They started this shit and could very easily end it. This attack on whatever is entirely on Russia's fault.
About 86, age from the like 14, 15 till the 19, I guess. So as you said, Ukrainian drones, flew over, perfectly knew that this is just a college. There is no military targets at all. And
we don't know that it was Ukrainian drones. He's making that up.
Then they start attacking it intentionally, making sure that
He doesn't know that it was intentional. There's no evidence it was intentional. In fact, up to this point, Ukraine has not intentionally attacked civilian centers, so it would be unreasonable to believe that they were.
Kill more people. So they, see that they start run back for safety, then they struck the building collapsed. Finally, when the first responders try to come, they attacking again. So in total, 21, youngsters been killed in this utmost premeditative murder, and about 60 people injured, many of them still at emergency care. So what was the main reason? Yes, a part of what happened before that. Palantir chief Alex Trump went in Kyiv
Palantir chief Alex Trump, is that what he just said?
Several days before, bragging how many Russians they're gonna kill. So idea, since they cannot achieve nothing at military front, because Russian army every week, keep pushing and, pushing more and liberating more cities in the Donbas region. So
whose fault is this war? Who is driving this forward? Who would have to stop it if it were going to stop? Which direction is it moving in right now? Whose territory is being invaded? To claim that Ukraine is the aggressor in any way is fucking embarrassing and vile.
Decided, okay, let's create a kill zone which will extend 200 kilometers. If we cannot really reach military targets, let's hunt any civilian targets. Then they start attacking on the, like past Sunday, on the Kherson region, which is Russian side. They really launch an attack on just apartment buildings. As a result, they killed one 6-year-old boy child, destroy many apartments, burned several cars.
And now Putin's responding, putting anti-aircraft drone missiles on top of apartment buildings.
Well, that's, for instance, different system. We will not go into details because every region, try to work up the system, how you can tackle these, new threats. By the way, this is all produced, made by the, basically, Epstein coalition. All these drones produced.
The Epstein coalition? Is that what he just said? Right, because I forgot. Alex Jones still believes in the Epstein files. He just doesn't think that Trump is in them, right? What a ridiculous excuse. Also, I felt like, think about what would be involved. Think about the trajectory of this guy's life for a moment, okay? He is obviously from Russia and has spent almost no time at all, or let me rephrase, and has spent very little time learning English because his accent is so heavy. I'm not knocking him for that, but I'm saying, think about what's going on in his life. He somehow comes over here from Russia, and within a very short amount of time, it had to be short because he hasn't had enough time to learn English fully yet, he's already on the Alex Jones show. I mean, how far-fetched is that? There are Americans who've been trying to get on the Alex Jones show for like their whole lives. And this random Russian dude just appears out of nowhere and gets on. Interesting. Okay.
Europe parts are coming from, Germany, Italy, Switzerland.
Oh, they're all complicit in hurting Russia, right?
Other countries.
And that's why Russia's threatening to hit military depots in Poland and other areas, because they're publicly scaling up these weapons to attack Russia.
Correct. So the idea was, first of all, they sabotaged the...
To be fair, he's fluent in English, but that accent is pretty heavy. I don't think he's been speaking English for very long to have an accent that heavy. When I learned German, the accent was the first thing I worked on, because people don't understand what the fuck you're saying if you don't have the accent of the region. Everything would be so much simpler if I didn't have to use the German accent. But saying like, Die Bund für Deutsche Kirche, for example, like there is accent in there, or I don't know, Nationalsozialistische or something. There's accent in there. If I was pronouncing it like I was just speaking English, it would be National Socialistische maybe, or something. I don't understand why he hasn't picked up on the American accent. I'm just like, from one language learner to another, I just think it's kind of odd.
Which is definitely will make possible if the Ukrainian regime, coming to terrorist acts as the main source of the war, because nothing else they can do, because then the Russia will be pushed to the line where now there is a lot of the public pressure for our government, especially many people addressing to the presidency, addressing to the parliament members, asking, hey, why we not hitting them hard and finish this? Why we need to still to take care about this if they are terrorists? We need to destroy them. And that's why warning was issued that the diplomats went out of the Kiev, because definitely tactics would be changed, and definitely we cannot just, keep doing the same stuff and expecting that these people will come for negotiation table. They don't understand that Russia really trying.
I feel like if I were fully fluent in another language, I'm not fully fluent in German, but I know a lot of German. I feel like if I were fully fluent, I would know where to place like verbs and adverbs and nouns and pronouns and things. Isn't that like the first thing you learn about a language? And he's dropping words from it. I don't know. Again, I'm not fluent in another language. English is my only one, really. So maybe I'm just nitpicking here.
And they've been very, very selective in which means and how they've been staging this operation. Now they want the full-blown war. Well, for us, it's very easy. We can flat.
Full-blown World War threats?
Staging this operation. Now they want the full-blown war. Well, for us, it's very easy. We can flatten the Kharkiv, we can flatten the Sumy, we can flatten all the bridges, we can flatten everything else. But this was extreme measure.
Lots of languages don't have words equivalent to the word "the." Really? Okay, interesting. I mean, again, he knows a second language and I don't, so who am I to be talking shit right now? I just thought it was interesting.
And very long time, idea was, okay, sooner or later, West will realize this is a way to nowhere and better them to come to negotiation table. But instead of at least send someone and start negotiating, they told to these puppet regimes in the Baltic states, okay, maybe you start talking about attacking Russian enclave of Kaliningrad so that we can, destroy and flatten their air bases, on which Putin says anybody try to do that, we flatten them. We have enough means for that. Think of this. Why on earth these people, it's like written, scenario. How you going to provoke Russia, what you're going to do, and they just keeping doing it.
Are you kidding? In what way is Ukraine provoking Russia? Really? What is Ukraine doing to provoke this, to deserve this? Ukraine deserves this, right?
So, okay, look, you're reaching a limit where then the Russia will say, okay, guys, since you don't want negotiations, we understand you want all-out war. Well, why we need to...
Nobody wants all-out war. Russia is refusing to come to the negotiation table and end the fucking war with Ukraine. Nobody wants war. God, Russia, this is like Russia's Iran moment. Insane.
Wait for for you to attack us. We're going to attack you first. And this is the reason when you come to the gang and they try to hit you, well, only way you have out is to start hitting them first. That's it.
Yeah, Russia is attacking Ukraine out of self-defense, right? This is the same bullshit garbage excuse that Israel gave for taking the Golan Heights. I don't remember, 2000s maybe is when that happened. They said they had to take the Golan Heights for defensive reasons. Basically, Israel said, the Golan Heights, snipers were sitting there picking off people from the Golan Heights. So they had to take the Golan Heights so that wouldn't happen anymore. But doesn't that just kind of shift the problem? Now the snipers aren't in the Golan Heights. Now the snipers that were in the Golan Heights are now sitting next to the territory that is next to the Golan Heights, right? How did just taking more territory solve that problem? That doesn't make any sense at all. Like, you can't take land in a defensive war. What are you smoking?
Yeah, when somebody walks up and punches you in the face, you fight back. So I know obviously you're not in the actual war planning, but you're obviously a well-seasoned expert.
Yeah, well-seasoned expert. That's all Alex Jones has on his show, right?
Just to the world, there's obviously a warning already given 8 days ago to the U.S. diplomats to get out. What are you thinking the timeline is? Because you said you ought to find the clip like 4 or 5 months ago. You said I give him 3, 4, 5 months, and then Putin's done. You were right about that. He said he's done now. What do we have it?
But he's not right about it. Putin is still in Ukraine. What are you talking about?
Basic timeline here.
Well, I don't think the timeline we can, predict, because we will see how it goes reaction, and this is just, the minimum effective dose, I guess. Sure.
So it's titrated. You're saying it's fluid.
Yeah, it's fluid, and plus it depends. Again, you see, we have a very conflicting messages coming from the Trump administration.
I think one of the hardest parts of learning another language is probably learning the idioms of that language. It's fluid is a little bit of an idiom, right? It's a term that people use, a phrase. If you just hear those words laid out in front of you, you probably wouldn't understand what they mean unless you have the cultural context to know. So, I don't know. I think that's interesting. Like in World War II, a guy basically said he's going to give Hitler the Letzte Ulung. And that was a pun. Basically meant two things. He's either going to butter him up or he's going to give him his last rites. And the idea was that, you know, there was a practice of pouring oil, of anointing people with oil who were dying a long time ago. So the same phrase for last rites is used for buttering up. It's just like these little puns, these little play on words, these little jokes that are in languages that are really hard to pick up on unless you've spent a significant amount of time in this culture. And unfortunately, nobody has spent a significant amount of time in World War II era German culture. So we have to kind of rely on people who were there to explain it, you know.
By one hand.
Or in Italian, they don't say once in a blue moon. They say once in every death of a pope. Interesting. In Germany, they say it's like speaking train. I think that's what the term is. It's like speaking train to me. And that phrase is like saying it's all Greek to me. I don't know why they call it that or why they say that. I could even have that slightly off, but you get the idea.
And the Trump saying, yes, we need to do the peace deal. Another hand, you know, then America authorized another package for Ukraine. Then Pete Hegseth bragging, oh, yes, we're going to use the Ukrainian drone technologies and we will help providing them to fight. So, you know, we start thinking, hey, who is in charge in America? Who is really running the show, or who is wearing the pants in that house? Who taking this decision?
There's another. Who's wearing the pants? That's interesting. This dude knows enough of the language to get the American idioms down.
Who calling the shots? With whom to negotiate? If you negotiate with the Trump, but then apparently, you know, the somebody else sabotaging his decision or his agreement, and nothing is done. So this is a serious issue. So as I said, Russian public is done with this, you know, and there is a huge push to really start doing something really, really unheard and unseen before to finish this conflict as soon as possible.
Okay. Anyway, Jesus Christ, dude. These people are so weird. And it's so transparent how he supports Russia through everything. It's painful, dude, honestly. All right, let's just jump to another section. Is there anything else interesting here? Who is this guy? I feel like I recognize him from somewhere. Oh, this is more Tina Peters shit. Interesting. Let's watch a bit more of this.
And rather than the spear getting and live sources. We also have Trump names Bill Pulte, who from all my sources has just done a great job to take over Tulsi Gabbard's job. So that's very, very exciting. And I want to be very, very clear.
Okay, this guy that Donald Trump appointed or is appointing to national security, isn't he like the head of some like major corporation or something? This is part of the the oligarchy taking over. This is part of the oligarchy. It's wild to me to watch people like Alex Jones fully support like monopolies and oligarchy and everything else with no hedging whatsoever. Just, I support it completely because they're on my side.
Whenever I'm critical of Trump, it's because I think he's doing something that's not the best idea. And as a citizen, I'm critical of him. The Democrats are the psychotic piranhas on PCP we've got to deal with.
There you go. So Alex Jones started originally, I don't know, a few weeks ago by saying he doesn't like Trump. He's turned on Trump fully. He's against Donald Trump now. But at the end of the day, you see what he's doing, right? At the end of the day, he does support Donald Trump. He'll do whatever it takes to support Donald Trump against the Democrats. Yeah, he'll talk some shit about him from time to time, but he will support him to the bitter end.
But I wanted to get into all of this with him. But first, Tina Peters, a hero.
No, she's a scam artist. She defrauded the U.S. government. She stole private voter data on Trump's behalf and gave it to Mike Lindell so that he could use it as propaganda, claiming they had a list of dead voters. Of course, the dead voters were just like a list of normal voters from her district.
Exposing election fraud.
She didn't do any of that shit.
Thrown into prison. Finally released. And so I wanted to get Peter Tickton's take on all of that. Legalbrains.com.
What is with this absolutely terrible AI, dude? If you're gonna use AI videos, at least make them good. In what world does this look like Tina Peters? Is the corrections facility blowing up behind her? What the hell is happening right now?
And more. Be sure and follow all of his work there.
It is so bad, dude. There's like a quality issue with AI video that's just not there. It's going to age so badly. You remember how good Jurassic Park was with their special effects back in the 80s, the 90s, 2000s? And then everything started using CGI and it aged fucking terribly. It looks like shit today, all of the CGI stuff. That's what we are entering a new quote unquote CGI era where like AI videos that are cheaply done at a bare minimum are so easy to spot. And they're fucking everywhere. Like this Tina Peters video. This does not look real at all. The planes and angles are all too perfect. Everything is too smooth. It's painfully obviously AI. And in 10 years, we're going to look back at this moment and be like, wow, dude, AI still had a ways to go. AI video.
And more. Be sure and follow all of his work there to talk about the situation we're in this country right now and the investigations, the latest on election fraud and moves to try to curtail that ahead of the midterms just 6 months away. So, Peter, very well-known, prestigious lawyer, thank you for being here with us on short notice. The crew's like, why don't you get Peter Tickton on this morning? I was like, oh, I didn't think of that. Wow. So where do you want to go first? And obviously, probably Tina Peters and then other things that are happening with the new director of the,
Are you bad-mouthing Jurassic Park? No. I was talking positively about it. I was saying Jurassic Park uniquely aged really well because they used special effects rather than CGI. They used puppetry and stuff like that significantly better than CGI, which was really popular in the mid to late 2000s. It's hard to watch CGI videos now, Like, just go with the classic puppetry, the classic special effects. It's so much better. But no, now everyone is using poorly made AI videos. Honestly, I'd be okay with like movie studios or whatever using AI videos if it was okay, if it was well done. Alex Jones AI videos are terrible, dude.
Some oversight of national intelligence and what's happening there. Peter, thanks for being here with us.
Well, thank you. I love being on your show, Alex, because I'm talking to somebody who knows about what the heck's going on. I mean, that we're in a war.
Yeah, Alex Jones definitely knows what's going on.
And that everything is related. So when we celebrate Tina Peters coming out of prison, it's not just an isolated issue and an isolated client. It's part of the whole takeover of the United States by let's call it the cabal or call it China, whichever you wish.
Wait, China is the cabal? Is that what you're saying? And we're supposed to think that Tina Peters being let out of prison is the cabal? Is that what he's saying?
But, if these people came to us with guns and rifles and they're shooting bullets, we'd know exactly how to deal with them. But when they come to us surreptitiously through our election system, it's like with most of our country, or a good part of our country, doesn't realize what the heck's going on. And so there's things going on with Tina, things going on with J6.
Like, is this image of Tina even real? that he popped on screen a second ago. Is this real? I think this is also an AI image of Tina Peters. Why the fuck didn't they use just a picture of Tina Peters? Why are you generating an AI video of Tina Peters? She's a real person and a real public figure. I don't understand the logic here.
And so there's this.
Yes, it is AI. It's AI. You can tell it's an AI video they generated of Tina Peters sitting there in a still frame. Why? I don't understand. Why would you do that?
Things going on with Tina, things going on with J6 people, all kinds of things going on. But at least, you mentioned Donald Trump, at least we have the right president who's able to address these things and never quit on Tina Peters. In fact, she wouldn't be out of prison now if it weren't for Donald Trump.
I think even this is AI. I think they're using AI instead of using real footage of her. She's a politician. There isn't enough public footage of Tina Peters to use as B-roll? What is the logic here?
Absolutely. So let's talk about that. He's been very faithful to J6 as well. But she's a key witness now. They wanted to keep her in prison so she couldn't testify. Why don't you recap?
That's nonsense. People were testifying against Tina Peters. She didn't have anything to testify about. What would she testify about? She wasn't asked to do this by Donald Trump directly. She did it of her own free will, and she used others to do it. Those others flipped on her. I think maybe 2 people testified against her. And then she spent like 10 years in prison, and they got 6 months because of that.
Folks that don't know what happened in Colorado, what happened with the codes, what she exposed, why they railroaded her.
Dude.
Okay. All right. Well, first of all, what was she charged?
I'm starting to realize just how much of Alex Jones's B-roll footage is AI. It's almost exclusively AI. Even the shit that is like real footage that's out there that you can just get your hands on. It looks like it's all AI. Why? I don't understand.
What people don't know. They think that, people say it's election fraud. They have no idea of what she was charged with.
Well, she was, I think, charged with basically giving her county clerk's access badge to a right-wing extremist so that they could gain access to the election systems. And they did. They gained access, and then they propagated the information, disseminated the information contained within these whatevers to like Mike Lindell and stuff.
So here's what was going on. As the clerk of Mesa County, Tina Peters had an obligation to not only run basically the election that as it's run in that county, but also to make sure that all of the data from the election was secured and kept.
That's correct.
To delete the data would be violating a federal statute that requires that it all be kept for 22 months.
Right. So here's what she did. She gave access to somebody else so that they could back up the data and take it and give it to Mike Lindell. So they took a backup of that data and stole it. And their framing is they created that backup so that it wasn't deleted or whatever. But it doesn't matter. It's completely immaterial. You gave that data to other people. That is illegal. You stole that data from us, from the voters. She did not have the right to do a simple backup, even if she wasn't using that backup nefariously, which she did. She still does not have the right to take that backup.
And not only is it statute, but it's a crime. You can go to prison.
No, it was not a crime for them to delete that data. It was old.
Prison for up to a year for each episode, each instance that you've failed to maintain the records. So here she is. She's basically everything's going fine, and then she understands that Janet Griswold, the Secretary of State of Colorado, is coming in, and that she's going to come into her office, have her people go into her machine and install something that they call the trusted build. A trusted build is something like you see it every time you update an app on your cell phone. That's what a trusted build is, where the program is updated, but the data stays, it is not deleted. The trusted build that they did was to reinstall the same program, but first they would wipe.
They were literally just updating the voting machines. They do have to hold on to the voter data for a certain period of time. And that period of time had elapsed like fucking like months ago. They'd had it for literally, I think, like 2 years or something. And when they deleted it, or let me rephrase, and they were well within their rights to just clear the data that was on the system and do the update. And Tina Peters used this as an excuse to create a backup and then disseminate it to Mike Lindell, to give it to Mike Lindell. I don't give a fuck what excuse you think you have for creating the backup. You cannot steal that data and give it to people who shouldn't have it, basically.
Wipe out the entire disk. And we all know that even when you wipe a disk, you can still get data off of it, but not if you overwrite it with something else. So they wipe the disk, then they overwrite it with the program. And
it's called BleachBit. It's the industry standard in the intelligence community to overwrite with zeros 11 times and then destroy the disks with mallets. Yeah, that's standard stuff.
Else. So they wipe the disk, then they overwrite it with the program and some other data again. And the original data is impossible to find. So,
right, it was old data, and it's private data that's protected, that should never see the light of day. It doesn't belong to anybody. And somehow, conveniently, Tina Peters found a bullshit excuse to justify giving this private voter data to Mike Lindell. Really.
This is all related to the election fraud, because why in the world would it be necessary for Jenna Griswold to make sure that her people go from county to county to county to county for 62 counties and completely wipe out, never to be seen again, the data from the 2020 election?
Well, first of all, we had that data elsewhere. Second, it's not Tina Peters' place or position to create backups, and certainly not her place or position to give those backups to political extremists. And third, she was doing a simple update to the machines. It's not surprising or whatever. Get fucking help.
The only reason is because she's part of it. And not only is she part of it, but she's a criminal. We know that because she admits that she did all of this and that it wiped out the data. And we know from what happened with Tina Peters' case that the difference from before and after were literally 92,000 files were deleted when they put in their trusted build.
All of this stuff, we still have access to it, obviously, because there are recounts and things like that. If you remember, the recounts took place in Arizona. She was Mesa County, Arizona. The recounts took place there. So what happens is these ballot machines or whatever, I don't know if you guys have ever voted before, but you go to the ballot place, like the election place or whatever. You go up to a machine, you type in your selection, and most of the time in a little thing on the side, it'll show you what your selections. And you're supposed to check your selections to verify against what you typed in to make sure that it does have exactly who you wanted to vote for on it. The machines, I believe, stored some of that data locally, even though we had the hard ballots that, you know, were printed out as the person made their selections. Tina Peters didn't need to make a backup of that because we had the ballots, which were counted by Cyber Ninja, and actually gave more votes to Biden, if you remember, all the way back then. So, like, this data does exist outside of the machines. It did. Tina Peters made that quote-unquote backup for political reasons, not logistical safety reasons. She's completely full of shit. Miracle says, I thought it was a goblin, right? Oop, sorry. Hold on.
And I want you to elaborate on that, but also not forget, she magically also published all the codes to get the computers right before the election as well.
Yeah, that was a stupid mistake that she made. I don't think that was necessarily intentional, but just stupid. And she figures, I'm not guilty of anything, even negligence here, because it takes 2 codes and they only have the 1. That's her excuse. But what happened, and really there was some wrongdoing in regard to that. But the wrongdoing, wiping out the data from...
Well, check that out. They found a reason to blame Tina Peters for something, but overlook it because some other person's wrongdoing was worse than hers. Are you fucking kidding me right now?
62 counties.
That violates the law, that she's destroying election records.
Yes, she destroyed I'm sorry. Yes, Tina Peters violated the law, but no, election records were not destroyed. We had a copy of all of the ballots, the physical paper ballots.
Yeah, she could go to prison for up to 62 years.
No, fucking please, dude.
For that. But she's one of the biggest proponents, was one of the biggest proponents of keeping Tina Peters in prison. She harped on it and harped on it, and wouldn't let it go.
Well, she should be in prison.
Because
so what's next for Tina? I mean, obviously she's a star witness in all this now. Do we have her before Congress? What's going to happen?
Oh, I don't know that she's going before Congress. That request hasn't been made yet to us, but I think she will be working with the president's people in terms of this. But to get to the nitty gritty, what was she charged with? She knew these people were coming in to wipe out her computer.
No. These people were simply updating the computer. The records existed elsewhere. She took the backup intentionally so she could give it to Mike Lindell and others. The flagrant lying is infuriating.
So she and some other clerks did the same thing, got people that were able to image the hard drive. And she had it imaged before and imaged after. That's how we know 92,000 files were deleted illegally.
They were not deleted illegally. They updated the fucking machine. We had this information elsewhere. Jesus Christ. These people lie like they fucking breathe.
So she needed to get somebody. She went to the Colorado government and said, do you have somebody that can image my computer, the Dominion machine? Because I need to do that before they put in the trusted build. They had nobody. They couldn't help her. So she went to other sources, and she was able to get this fellow, Conan Hayes. Now, Conan Hayes is actually certified by the Department of Homeland Security to do exactly what was requested to be done. So when you get certified, you're not only certified that you're capable of doing the act, but you're also somebody that can be trusted with the information. So this is not somebody that's off the street, somebody that is crooked in any way. But when she was offered Conan Hayes, it was with the understanding you can have him, he can do the job for you, but you can never tell anybody his name. Why? Why can't you tell his name? Because he just was instrumental in busting one of the Mexican cartels that were dealing with human trafficking, even in the United States. God,
the ridiculous heroic stories these people tell about each other is just insane.
God knows how many people this fellow, Conan Hayes, saved, how many women, how many children from hell. But
from hell? Why would they be in hell if they were being human trafficked? Does this dude believe that if they're being trafficked, they're going to hell? What?
When you do that, the cartels don't really like it very much when you bust them up. You become a wanted man. So they were gunning for him, and she couldn't use his name because it would put his life in danger.
Well, his name's all over the place now, isn't it?
So they what was needed, they needed him to not only image the computer, but then watch whatever was going on after he imaged it.
I bet. Right. I think this is the guy who she gave her security badge to give him access to the systems, which he then copied and disseminated to Mike Lindell and others.
And then image it again after they finished. So to watch what's going on, he had to be in the room. But she couldn't give his name. Now, believe it or not, the trial judge would not allow her to explain why she used a fake name. So, this whole trial was a farce to begin with.
You're being persecuted all the time, right? You're the center of all persecution in the United States. You never do anything wrong, and everyone else is always doing things wrong to you every single time, right?
She wasn't able to give her defense, why she didn't have criminal intent. So she didn't have due process in any way.
She absolutely did, and I covered her trial already a while back, if you want to see it.
We are now going to the Supreme Court of Colorado on that ground, on the ground of the Supremacy Clause, which is simply this: if there's a federal law that you have to obey, but you have to contravene a state statute in order to make sure you follow the federal law.
That data already existed elsewhere. She did not need to give her security badge to some random fucking person who didn't have the right to access that shit.
Well, then you have to do what you have to do. You have to follow the federal, and you're not guilty of violation of the state. But and also here's the other thing, which that reminds me of, because most of your audience don't understand what was the crime. So you gave a false name. You're allowed to use any name you want as long as it's not for a fraudulent purpose.
See, therein lies the problem. It was a fraudulent purpose. She gave her security badge to somebody who shouldn't have had it. That was one of the main crimes. And that facilitated a serious fraudulent crime of stealing personal voter data.
So what was the name that was used? It was another fellow that worked for Tina Peters that had a pass to be able to get in and so on. But the reason that she couldn't give, that she had to give a name, had nothing to do with the elections. As Secretary of State, Jenna Griswold was making the rules for the state regarding COVID. And
okay,
that was a COVID rule that was broken, not an election rule. Well,
giving someone else your security badge so that they can steal private voter data is a COVID rule, not an election rule? What?
By her giving the false name, you know what? Guess what? Not one person got COVID. Not one person got a sniffle. Not one person lost 10 cents. So there was no harm.
There was harm. She defrauded a bunch of people. She stole private data. There was harm. You cannot say there wasn't harm when there was harm.
That's why there was no restitution in this case. There was nobody to...
Absolutely. We know she's a hero. They went after other election officials in Arizona, you name it, the same thing. So now, where do we go on offense with this? Now that we know they wanted to sit on top of her, they're so scared. I mean, this is massive. What are we expecting to see next in the redemption arc of Tina Peters?
Okay, so you're seeing us go to the Supreme Court of Colorado, where we're going to be arguing both those things, the due process, the Supremacy Clause. Also, there's the...
Okay, why the fuck are they showing a picture of Donald Trump in military attire from his days in a boarding school or whatever? I don't understand. And the fact that the picture of him as a teenager is in black and white should be a sign that maybe our representatives are getting a little bit too old for the job. Maybe we should find slightly younger people to do this, right? Whoop, sorry.
Pardon, but remember, Donald Trump gave her a pardon. And the state of Colorado said, "Oh, that doesn't apply to state offenses." And there's a good line of thought that
no, it's not a good line of thought. That is the legal standard. Okay, federal pardons are for federal crimes. State pardons are for state crimes. That's how it works. There is no line of thought. This is not hotly debated. That's how it fucking works. Sorry.
agrees with that. But at the same time, here we have a federal statute that not only is the same as the state statute, but actually is the state statute. It basically says whatever the state statute is we're going to enforce that in the federal court or in the federal law. So it's the same exact law as the federal law that was being dealt with, and it had to do with a violation of federal law that was occurring at the time. Surely the president's got to be able to deal with those kinds of issues. There's a case law that basically supports this, and so we're pushing on the pardon. And then last but not least, which most people don't know because this is something that we didn't, I didn't tell you about before, wasn't that important at that.
Oh, he's got a bad internet connection.
The fact is there was a juror who some crazy person, and there's a lot of crazy people on the streets of Denver. Yeah. So one of these transient kinds of people cut the phone lines of this juror's business, and it cost that juror $4,000 to fix the phone lines in that.
Okay, first of all, I don't believe this. I'm sorry, but this guy has proven himself to be a liar since the moment I turned him on. Second, I don't know what that has to do with literally anything. Why we give a fuck about any of this?
Well, she didn't know it was some crazy person. She thought it was somebody related to the case. And she thought it was because she was a juror in the case that somebody cut those phone lines. Well, that put the onus on the judge once it was learned and brought to the judge's attention, where there was actually an investigator that taped the recording of the juror explaining all of this. The judge had no choice. He had to do that, but he didn't, because this isn't a great judge. This is a judge who just wanted that conviction, wanted to put her away. And so, it's disgusting. The worst part of what we're seeing in America is with those judges that are crooked.
Total.
Fucking please. Everybody is out to get me. I'm the victim in every situation. I'm being persecuted. I'm always the target of all of these people and all of these problems. Get fucking help, dude. Really. People who are actually targeted by the justice system don't bitch about being targeted by the justice system to this degree.
Weaponization by the Democrats. I've experienced it. So
yes, you have.
I got other issues I want to hit with you here, but in summation, the Democrats are not happy that she got out. For those who understand, how is she out now? What is the status? How did that happen?
Okay, well, Governor Polis, with a lot of pressure from Donald Trump. Okay, I mean, believe me, that's very hard pressure to withstand. Okay, basically kowtowed to Donald Trump and did what was the right thing to do. What his intelligence was telling him, his brain was telling him 2 + 2 = 4. He knew that she was severely sentenced.
No, she was sentenced totally fairly. She's lucky she didn't get fucking treason charges, honestly.
How can a person, just for giving that false name...
That's not why she was charged with a crime, for giving a false name. Nothing to do with it.
On a COVID issue, how can she get 9.5 years in prison? How does that work? 9.5 years. I think what this judge did was looked at her age. At that time, she was 69.
Wow, really? Damn, she probably thought she was going to spend the rest of her life in prison, huh?
To the life table, so a 69-year-old will, on the average, live another 9 years. So he gave her 9.5. He basically gave...
That complete nonsense. That is not why he gave her that sentence. Her sentence was completely fair for what she did.
Gave her a life sentence.
A death sentence.
a death sentence. Yeah. So this is what we had to deal with in terms of the political. Look,
here's that weird AI video again. Why do they do this? You really could not find a single video of Tina Peters that's not AI that you could have used instead?
Once a state becomes what I call captured, once it becomes a captured state like Colorado, where the politicians are there because of the election fraud,
they never turn loose.
Then the first thing they do is they fix the judiciary. Okay, they make sure it all agrees and lines up with what they want, so they get a crooked, disgusting judiciary.
That's correct. That is what Donald Trump has been doing. Yes, exactly. He's been trying to pad the judiciary with his acolytes, his supporters, and he's largely succeeded, unfortunately. It's like every accusation is a confession with these people.
I mean, look, I practiced law in Palm Beach County and Broward County.
Bro, don't tell me that.
Primarily. I'm all over the country, frankly. I'm in California, right? I've got cases in, I can name 7 states I'm in right now. But primarily, I'm in Palm Beach County and Broward County, Florida. I've never known a more decent bench of judges anywhere. I love our judges because they are calling balls and strikes. They're not politically activated. But
you judges aren't supposed to be politically activated. And the judge in Tina Peters' case was not. He was not a political activist. Again, we watched the whole trial, the whole thing with her. And it was totally fair. Everything he said, every step of the way, completely fair. She's just looking for a reason to be a victim at every step.
And again, they've been appointed to, for the most part, by a Republican governor.
Oh, I'm prejudiced. I've experienced elected Democrats. They are literally, in my show trial in Texas, where she found me guilty. She said, I don't care if the Supreme Court says it's capped at $500,000, $50 million, I don't care, screw the Supreme Court.
That just complete nonsense, dude. This dude lies like he breathes. Seriously, he is shameless.
I mean, they literally said screw the Supreme Court on the record.
Just dead silence. Okay, that works.
These people, it's absolutely amazing that some of these judges are the way they are. It's mind blowing. But I will tell you, you're right. It's these lefties that are getting into they become activist judges that
the lefties, yes, the lefties are the problem. Totally
decide they're going to just change anything because they don't like you. You're going to pay the price, and this is what's gone on. So, as I say, everything is related, but at least she's out. Thank God. You know, that's why I say if it weren't for President Trump, she'd still be in prison because he was unrelenting in terms of.
No, great job, Trump. There. So, just to give us.
Yeah, that could be. I can see that. If not for Trump, she'd still be in prison. Absolutely, I think so.
The general shot. We'll come back from break. What are we doing 6 months out from the general election and the Democrats still operating? I know Trump's trying to put pressure, trying to bring in voter ID, trying to do all that, but he's getting blocked a lot. What should we expect in the midterms?
Oh man, there's a nightmare scenario. Okay, do you know the nightmare scenario? The nightmare scenario.
I do know it, but you should recap it. We're going to Hakeem Jeffries.
Do it now or wait till we come back from break?
No, do it now. We have 4 minutes. You got the floor. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. So what is the nightmare scenario? The nightmare scenario is that we know the machines can determine the outcome of any election they want to. Okay, period.
No. There's no evidence that the voting machines have been tampered with in any way, shape, or form. This is completely made up. It's a made-up lie used to justify rigging elections on Trump's behalf. Also, the voting machines that were used in Mesa County, the ones that Tina Peters was tampering with, those aren't used across the country. The same voting machines are not used across the country. They're different voting machines. You know, there's what was it? Semantic? Is that no, I'm sorry. Like there's Smartmatic and then there's Dominion voting systems. I believe that those are two different companies with two different voting machines, if I'm not mistaken.
We have 22 Republican senators that are up for re-election. That means that they could easily grab 18, 19 of them. They can have a 67% majority in the Senate, which is enough to remove anyone that the House impeaches. We're talking about short time. The election's coming up November 3rd. We'll find out the results on the 4th, no doubt. And
why? Why are we going to be able to find the results on the 4th? Because of voting machines, obviously, right? Because voting machines exist, and it's easier to tally them up if a machine is counting them. There are fewer mistakes if machines are doing the counting, right?
Then we've got, then on the 5th of January, that's when all the senators and congressmen take their seats, get sworn in, and the first order of business in the House is to elect the next Speaker of the House. Who's that going to be?
A Democrat, almost guaranteed.
Hakeem Jeffries, no question about it.
I don't know about that. Hakeem Jeffries, I don't think so. He's not very popular right now. He is technically the minority leader of the House, but nobody likes him. I find it very far-fetched to think that he's going to be the leader, but we'll see.
If they have the majority, assuming that they have that. This is the nightmare scenario, not necessarily what's going to happen, but they elect him. What does Hakeem Jeffries do at the first order of business?
Absolutely fucking nothing, because he has no spine, obviously.
As the Speaker of the House, he does the impeachment of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance together at the same time.
I seriously, deeply doubt it. J.D. Vance hasn't done anything impeachment worthy yet, has he? I'm not sure. Maybe. That would be a real challenge, though. That doesn't sound likely at all. But you know who comes next in the line of succession? Hakeem Jeffries. He's drawing up this ridiculous, nonsensical plan that would put Hakeem Jeffries in the White House. Like, please, it's so absurd. These people seriously need help.
When those two are then sent over to the Senate and they're both removed, who becomes the president of the United States? The Speaker of the House does. That would be Hakeem Jeffries. That's why we see him looking so cocky, so sure of himself, speaking as though he's the new president, saying that the Supreme Court is an illegitimate organization. I mean, he wants to put himself in a position to say, I don't need to listen to the Supreme Court. They don't need to pack the Supreme Court. He just needs to ignore it, and he will have total power. So this is where they're going. This is what they want to do. They're desperate to get power back, and they will do whatever they can. Now, I'll tell you why I have a lot of hope after the break, but this is the nightmare scenario. If this happens, we're done.
It's absurd to think that this would happen. Like, what an absolutely unrealistic, ridiculous, nonsensical scenario. Dude unironically thinks that Hakeem Jeffries is going to impeach Trump and Vance to put himself in the White House. What? Really? Does he really believe this? He can't possibly, right?
If Hakeem Jeffries, and this is what they're planning, but if Hakeem Jeffries ends up taking over and he's the next president of the United States, we will never get our country back again.
Oh my God, dude. Hakeem Jeffries is nothing if not completely middle of the road, center right, maybe at best, vanilla, don't make waves. That's what he's all about. That's what he's always been about. He wouldn't do jack shit if he was, put into the presidency. He would never take the presidency. He's not charismatic enough.
And the Democrats are talking about packing the Supreme Court. I mean,
we should definitely be doing that. Yes.
Ever get back in, they're going to go for broke.
Yes, absolutely. These people are completely and totally fucked when the tide turns. And it will. It always does. These people are fucked from top to bottom. Everybody all along the line, they are all fucked. This is how denazification plays out.
He can say, look, they can decide all they need for civil matters. They can decide whatever they want to about education or whatever, but I'm the president of the United States. We have a separation of powers, and nobody's going to tell me what to do.
Oh, suddenly you want a separation of powers, huh? Interesting.
That's all he has to do. That's all he has to say. That's how he has to act. And then guess what? We no longer have our country. If he gets in there, we no longer have our country, and it's gone. There may be a civil war, there may be a rebellion. We don't know what's going to happen, but if that happened, I would expect, especially if you have the right AG, that's going to be able to, bring some evidence forthcoming very quickly as to what happened. Because you only have a short time. You got 62 days between the election and January 5th. So, you better have the right people in there just in case things do go wrong, because it's going to then become martial law, I would predict.
Whoever is not in power will never start a civil war. I don't believe we're ever going to see a civil war in the United States ever again, in my opinion. And the reason is because the U.S. military is so powerful that it's impossible to match. You cannot match the U.S. military. I don't give a fuck who you are or what things you have. There will never be a civil war in the U.S. again, because whoever is on the wrong side is going to lose. And everybody knows that. If there were ever a time for a civil war in the United States on behalf of Democrats, for Democrats to start, it would be now. It's not going to happen. We don't have that environment. Trump supporters are not going to start a civil war. They know they would be They know they would be crushed if Democrats are in power, ruthlessly crushed. They know that. It's just not going to happen ever, in my opinion, unless there's some serious shift. What if the military leadership becomes divided in a crisis? I think the military is way too focused on loyalty to the Constitution over anything else. You can replace a lot of the people with loyalists at the top, but it's not just the people at the top that fully call the shots. It's everybody along the chain. I think that a military coup would be different from a civil war, but either way, extremely unlikely. I would put that in the chances of it happening in the bucket of 0.1%, maybe. Right now. I mean, anything could happen at any point, obviously, but I just think it's very far-fetched.
And the Democrats are openly talking about trying to trigger a civil war. I want to get what you think about Trump picks Bill Pulte, acting intelligence chief, and who's going to be the new attorney general. I heard it might be you. We have a very special guest right now, Peter Tickton. Be sure and check out his website, legalbrains.com. We'll be right back with this incredible information.
Bro, why are they... What is this? The flight of the... What's the name of that song? I forget.
In just a few minutes, stay with us.
I forget what that's called. Why are they playing that? The fuck? Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. Absolutely absurd, dude. These people are just insane. They are insane. I need to cover something else. Let's see here. Candace Taylor is done. Che-On is complete. Hold on. Give me just a second here. What is Greg Locke up to right now, other than mourning the death of his son, which is super sad? Been 3 breathtaking weeks since the homegoing, of my son. Already I can sense the Lord quietly reshaping something deep in my soul. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm sorry that he had to go through that. Really sorry. That's rough. Let's see. Ron Filipkowski. Boy, they're really going at, what's his name? At James Tallarico hard right now. They are, like, attacking him ruthlessly. I think that's probably because they know that he has a really good chance of winning. I'm convinced Tallarico is going to win in Texas. Convinced. Wait and see. I'm just kind of glancing through, see if there's anything interesting we can hit. What's this?
Mr. Attorney General, I wanted to ask a few questions about the anti-weaponization fund. We know that the department has agreed to pause this effort until at least June 12th. I wanted to ask what your plans were for the fund after June 12th.
So thank you. So look, we're not moving forward with the fund. You're right that there's a date that in the case in the Eastern District of Virginia in June, but we are not moving forward with the fund, period. The reasons for the fund is something that President Trump talked about for a long time, which is the fact that there were a lot of people in this country who had their government weaponized against them. The reasons for the fund, I think, it remain as important as they were before.
No, it was all about scamming the government and using a and creating a slush fund for yourself of unlimited money that you can use, basically.
But we are not moving forward with the fund.
Is that true? It's so hard to know what's real and what's fake with these people.
Moving forward ever.
Correct.
Oh, there's no more fund then.
Well, to the extent there was a fund, and remember the fund wasn't set up yet. There were no commissioners named. There was no claimants brought anything in front of. There was no claims made yet. So yes, we're not moving forward with the fund.
You and associate.
Interesting. I guess we'll see if that actually happens, if that's real. I'm not convinced.
Through Friday.
Wait.
So if you're wanting a yard sign, you can pick them up there at Sheridan Church in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Sheridan Church is open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can just come to the office and you can come grab them there. So if you're wanting a yard sign.
Interesting. What's this?
This whole thing on Islam for political reasons, but I will tell you right now, this is a political winner. I mean, if you're a conservative and he.
Interesting. Okay. What's this? Is this Michelle Bachmann? Damn.
We've never had a clear path to defeat Iran. And so I'm worried that the midterms concerns and also elections concerns in Israel that...
Okay, I'm going to pull this. Hold on. Give me just a second. I'm going to pull a few videos. I was having trouble with Briefcase earlier, but I discovered the issue was... it was a settings problem that was fixed. Let me just pull a few of these because I would really like to cover some of this. What's this?
Because Donald Trump, the left is freaking out because Donald Trump has won a $10 billion suit against the IRS over the illegal leaking of his tax information.
That's not true. That's a lie. A, he didn't win that suit. They settled. And B, the IRS didn't leak it. It was a third-party contractor who leaked it, one guy. And C, thousands of people have their tax returns leaked every single year. Trump uniquely deserves $1.7 billion fucking dollars, or even $10 billion, really? I mean, fucking please.
He didn't. He got $10 billion. Imagine that.
No, he didn't.
These guys know how to do lawfare, man. So he's got the money. Here's what he said in classic, beautiful Trump fashion. I don't want the money. I want the money to go to all the victims.
Okay, well, I will believe it when I see it. I'm still waiting for my Doge check. I'm still waiting for my tariff check. We haven't seen any of that shit so far, right? Where's all that?
of the persecution that happened over the fake Russia, all the people that lost jobs under investigation by the rigged Russia collusion hoax, the way that the intelligence community went after people and targeted them.
That did not happen. Get fucking help, dude. Really. All right, let's jump down. What's this?
Once said that he was coming. Tallarico also once said that he was coming to terms with his masculinity and his whiteness. Watch this.
Prophetic voices like Jesus have.
Dude, all right, I'm grabbing this too. We're gonna talk about Tallarico because he's a hot button issue right now for sure. They're really freaked out about him winning. What's this?
Now, Andre Carson also chimed in. He's Muslim, and he said your comments are outrageous and unacceptable. What would you say to his comments?
I would say he's wrong. I would say, Andre, you need to find Jesus. You need the love of Jesus in your heart. You need the truth of God.
Oh, is that what Beckwith has? The love of Jesus is in Beckwith's heart? Because I see nothing but hate in this dude's heart, honestly.
Word in your heart, and Islam is a demonic death cult. It treats women as second-class citizens. It throws the irony of this piece of shit saying this. I actually happen to know a lot about this subject, about how Islam treats women. I've been reading about it a lot lately, but we'll get into it. LGBTQ community off of buildings. Muhammad, who is the greatest Muslim to ever live, had a 6-year-old wife. This is not something.
The greatest Muslim to live. Okay. Yeah, I definitely want to grab that one too. Let's see. What's this?
You're falling asleep, wake back up and listen. There's only an agenda. Donald Trump's agenda versus Democrats. Lay down your convictions. We don't need them right now. Lay down your principles. They won't work. We're in a two-party system. Sadly, I wish you could vote your conscience, but my conscience won't let me. Please, if you're falling asleep.
That's really interesting. What's this? Intercessor Lou Engel. This dude's so weird. Rejoices that White House insiders made sure that he wound up on stage during the Trump administration's prayer rally to rededicate the nation to God. Yep. I'm going to grab that one too, because that seems really interesting.
My year in Congress is...
What's this?
Speak about specifically, like, was he talking about the importance of rededicating it back to specifically Jesus?
Well, that's pretty much what he talked about. He talked about why we're doing this, which we know the whole story, but what he came down to was the reason why we need you pastors here, because you guys are the difference that can decide if this thing is going to go one way or the other. It comes down to the church is and explain how in I think the Congress building or the Capitol building, there's a plaque that says.
Isn't the Capitol building where Congress convenes?
Something about God. We dedicate this to God, our country. And it was put up there during the Cold War because the communists in Russia said there is no God. So they put that up to remind all the politicians coming in to vote for stuff, hey, this is under God. So it's basically he's saying, but we need the pastors and the leaders, the Christian leaders, to get on board. Because if you guys don't get on board and spread this thing, it's not going to shift the way it needs to shift. So they see the importance of the church is the missing link.
It's the missing link. Okay. Whoa, hey, wait, this is Elijah Shaver. He dyed his hair. Interesting. What's this?
Up front, there is the head of the Texas GOP who is an Indian man, like not an American Indian who has been here for generations and just has brown skin. He speaks in a Punjab accent. And the problem with that isn't about racialness or about being racist. The problem is that there is a clear pattern with the Indian migration. When an Indian gets into leadership.
Bro, are they playing Guns N' Roses? I think so. Back with, what's this?
I really do believe. You can almost sense a presence. But in this place, I also have my life-size...
Dude, I remember this video. I have it.
Donald Trump that I lay hands on. Someone sent me an Elon Musk also, so I've been praying for him. Why not? Let's lay hands on the president. Lord, in Jesus' name, we pray that you will give this man extraordinary wisdom.
These people are so fucking weird.
And a leading of the Spirit regarding Iran and what to do with this threat. He has
Dude, I thought this was an old one. This is brand new. He's still praying over a cardboard cutout of Trump? Really? Okay.
many, many things on his mind, the economy included. But I pray, Lord, that you do not let him withdraw from this situation and leave a threat that is going to come down upon us and our children. I pray that you will grant to him the grace and the authority of a Cyrus anointing to undo the belts of his adversaries.
I'm going to have to cover Lance Walnut too soon. I'll grab that. And
Ken has some personal issues. We knew when Donald Trump came in, we were going to have to deal with some Stormy Daniels chapters. We just wanted to make sure that he's behaving himself now and walking as close to God as he could. And that's where Ken Paxton is. He's learned from his wicked ways in terms of his behavior. Well, I'm just saying that, Christian community, they come up to me and go, well, I really like Ken, but I don't know if I can vote for him. I'm a Christian. Well, look, he's owned the mistakes he's made in the past, unlike a whole lot of politicians in Washington.
No, he has not. Ken Paxton? No. In no way, shape, or form has he owned his mistakes. All right, let's open a few more of these.
Now, I know
you don't have any.
Yeah, this one.
You don't have.
One more. Let me find the video. Here it is, right here. Got it. Yeah. And then, yeah, that works. So this is Lance Wallnau. He is a Christian nationalist pastor. And for some reason, he has a cardboard cutout of not just Donald Trump, but Elon Musk and Mike Lindell in his house that he prays over regularly.
You don't have angels in this library, I really do believe. You can almost sense a presence. But in this place, I also have my life-size Donald Trump that I lay hands on. Along, someone sent me an Elon Musk also.
I bet. Someone sent you that. Right. You didn't actually go out and buy it. You just happened to have a life-size cardboard cutout of Elon fucking Musk and Donald Trump. That checks out. Totally. Not weird at all.
So I've been praying for him. Why not? Let's lay hands on the president. Lord, in Jesus' name, we pray that you will give this man extraordinary wisdom and a leading of the Spirit regarding Iran and what to do with this threat. He has many, many things on his mind, the economy included. But I pray, Lord, that you do not let him withdraw from this situation and leave a threat that is going to come down upon us.
It's actually illegal for Trump to continue to fight in Iran right now because he has a total of 60 days, I think, before he has to get congressional approval. Of course, Lance Wallnau is of the opinion that the executive should not have to get approval from Congress. Unitary executive theory. He should be allowed to do literally whatever he wants with no bars, no guardrails or anything, no checks or balances.
And our children. I pray that you will grant to him the grace and the authority of a Cyrus anointing to undo the belts of his adversaries.
He believes Trump has a special role to play in biblical chronology. In the 500s to 600s BCE, Nebuchadnezzar invaded Israel from Babylon and took a bunch of Jews captive, like 70,000 or something like that. This is real history, not just in the Bible. This actually happened. So anyway, he takes them to Babylon as slaves, and they were only there for like 70 years or something, because I think in 531 or something, this happened in 586. In 531 or somewhere in there, King Cyrus of Persia, which is modern-day Iran, invades Babylon, takes it over, frees the Jews, or God's people, if you will. So Lance Wallnau claims Trump has a Cyrus anointing, which means he's going to be God's hands to execute a plan on his behalf. That's what he means when he says he has the Cyrus anointing. He's going to help God's people, not just Jews, but God's people generally. He's going to help them do whatever it is he wants them to accomplish in the lead up to Armageddon.
Of a Cyrus anointing to undo the belts of his adversaries and to bring a peace, an extension of mercy and grace with the dedication of our country. On the 17th, all the way to July 4th, I pray for an increase of revival in America. And I pray for Brother Elon. I thank you, Lord, that you're...
Brother Elon? Elon isn't even a Christian, right? Isn't he like an atheist? I don't remember. Hang on. I thought Elon was atheist or something. Let me just see if I can find out here. Give it a second. Hang on here. So Musk says he's a cultural Christian. Well, obviously, we're all culturally Christian. We came from a culture that is predominantly Christian. So, yes, obviously. But Richard Dawkins, famous atheist, has said the exact same thing. He's a cultural Christian. We're not cultural Muslims. We didn't come from Islam predominantly. In his 2024 conversation with Jordan Peterson, he said, well, I'm not particularly religious. I do believe that the teachings of Jesus are good and wise. Called himself probably a cultural Christian. He's never claimed to be a practicing Christian, but described himself as a believer in the principles of Christianity. No, he's not a Christian. Come on.
Drawing him in, that you're drawing him in by your spirit, that you're doing a work in his heart, that you're surrounding him with people of influence right now.
Like, why this picture of all things to be on the cardboard cutout? There isn't a better picture of Elon Musk than this.
That are even instructing him so that his revelation of Jesus will be so profound and powerful. It may be secret for a season, but it will come out openly that he has had an encounter with the resurrected Christ. Hallelujah.
Okay. That's the end of the video, but guess what? That's not the only example of Lance Wallnau praying over cardboard cutouts. Why does this dude have so many cardboard cutouts in his house?
Oh, but there was no violence at Biden's inauguration because nobody was there.
Yes, because COVID was going on. We were in the height of COVID. And obviously, there was fear that there was going to be serious violence. They wanted to avoid that possibility. So it was a closed ceremony.
But they thought that Trump was giving signals to his militias.
Oh, he absolutely was. He said, stand back and stand by to the Proud Boys. He was giving signals.
These people live in paranoid land. They're not sane like us. They're not rational like us and Mike Lindell. By the way, I've ordered a lot.
He's got another cardboard cutout, dude. Why does he have so many of these? And this one is a little more festive. Where the fuck did he even get it? Where does one get one of these things? I don't understand. And why does he have a pillow?
A lot of Mike Lindell slippers and a lot of Mike Lindell bathrobes and a lot of Mike Lindell towels for Christmas. I figured the supply chain coming from China was disrupted, but Mike Lindell wouldn't let me down. Guess what? I'm still waiting, Mike. I love you. My pillow. Use the code Lance. You can get 50 to 60% off. I'm wearing Mike's slippers as I speak. I love Mike Lindell. He's one of the more rational parts of our army.
Mike Lindell. Did this dude just put the words Mike Lindell and rational in the same fucking sentence? He is famous for not being rational. Like, really. What an absolutely wild thing to say.
But the supply chain, Mike, let's get it sorted out, buddy. I put over $1,000 in Christmas presents there, and I'm still waiting.
Holy shit, dude. $1,000 in Christmas presents.
Anyway, again, like I told you, that's not the only example of the cardboard cutouts. Okay, we're on video number fucking 3. Watch this.
I pray for this man. Lord, I pray you take the smell of smoke, the disappointment, the bitterness, the anger, the feeling of betrayal and loss. That it must be a terrible thing, Lord, to actually feel as though you've been stolen an election.
Okay, well, the election was not stolen, so.
And that the nation that you love is suffering with it. But I'm asking you, Lord, I'm asking, it's fine. I just found a flag here. I didn't know I had this. I'll bring that out. I pray, Lord, that you'll take the smoke away. You'll give him a revelation that he is nothing but an instrument of yours, and that as an instrument, you have your hand on him, so that, Lord, he won't be moving in anger or bitterness or rage, but you'll take that away from him.
We're talking about Donald Trump right now? Are we talking about the same person? You're asking God to take the bitterness and rage away from Donald Trump?
Show him that he's but an instrument and that he's being used by the hand of providence.
Like even God even God isn't powerful enough to take the bitterness and rage away from Donald Trump, of all people.
I pray that you would indeed use him as the hand of providence comes upon him and take from him the angst and the bitterness. And I'm praying.
Don't hold your breath. Anyway, I want to know why this dude has so many cardboard cutouts, honestly. What is going on in this dude's life that, I mean, like, what is his cardboard cutout budget for the year? Is this tax deductible? Where do you get this? Are these on Amazon? They didn't look folded, right? Did he have them custom made? Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. This dude needs help, seriously. By the way, he's not a nobody. He knows Donald Trump personally. He prays with Donald Trump personally, regularly. All right, let's see. Did I want to cover another video real fast? Hold on.
I didn't say this whole thing on Islam for political reasons, but
Okay, let me pull up Beckwith.
A firing squad is a couple bucks. You know what I mean? And it's humane. Well, I just think if that vote holds and we see that Virginia does amend their.
We have a wall of separation of church and state, right? That got warped, and James Madison, the father of our Constitution, drew inspiration for the 3 branches of government from this passage of Scripture.
Well, if you know history, and I know you have David Barton on a lot in the show, and I called him because I know history too. I called him right after she goes off on this tangent of how the 3-5 compromise was used to vilify people like her in our founding. I said, David.
Okay, let's talk about Beckwith and Bachman.
We've never had a clear path to
Right. Wait.
We are living in the times that the Bible.
I adore Donald Trump. I love him. I think he's a fabulous president. But this is the one thing a president can't get wrong. According to the Bible, according to Joel chapter 3, a president can't get Israel wrong. They can't.
It's shocking that someone like Donald.
Yeah. Okay, let's cover some of these real fast. All right. Wait, where did here it is. Okay, I don't know if you guys know Michelle Bachmann, but she's been in politics for a while. She's a Christian Zionist and out of her gourd, dude, on Donald Trump. She loves him to death. It's wild. Listen to this.
Defeat Iran. And
Wait.
We've never had a clear path to defeat Iran. And so I'm worried that the midterms concerns and also elections concerns in Israel, that both leaders will be distracted. I think that would be a tragic mistake for historical purposes. I think we need to stay on task right now, because I truly believe that if President Trump takes care of this evil now, I think God will deliver the midterms as well.
Well, you know why, really? Why she wants Trump to continue to attack Iran through the midterms? It's because Donald Trump is, it's because she's a Christian Zionist. She believes that for Jesus to return, he must come back in a Jerusalem that is fully controlled by Israel. Israel has to control that whole region, or he can't return. So as a Christian Zionist, just like Greg Locke and many others, Mike Huckabee famously, as a Christian Zionist, she sees a silver lining behind every mushroom cloud. Every time there's a war with Iran, she sees a silver lining there. It's horrifying.
I think that will happen. I think the same for the elections in Israel. I believe these men were appointed for this task, destined for this task. They're the only two leaders I can think of who would work together to defeat Iran. Can you think of any other political leader that would do this? And especially Israel and America. This is historic. This is a biblical moment. And that's why
This is what I'm talking about. A biblical moment. It's a biblical moment. In what way is this biblical? In one way, that being they want to see Iran destroyed because it will spark World War III, which will spark Armageddon, which will bring Jesus back faster. That's the whole goal here. That shit should be terrifying.
we need to pray into this for the strength for both men not to be distracted, to stay on task and get the job done. I believe it will happen, and I believe that God will take care of all the other considerations that might be distracting.
Okay, so she's been talking about this for a long time, as it turns out. Let me just check this out. Here's another video. This is from June 25th, 2025.
We are living in the times that the Bible said that the prophets longed to see. The prophets of the Bible wanted to be alive now. When you and I are alive, they wanted to be alive because of what would happen.
Actually, they believed that it was going to happen in their lifetimes, and when it didn't, they were baffled and confused by it. It didn't make any sense. They didn't understand. And they started making up new doctrine to explain why the end did not come in Jesus' lifetime. They started claiming shit like they saw people dying, and they were like, well, don't worry. The people who've died since Jesus died will come up out of their graves and meet him halfway to heaven on his way back to earth when the time comes. They thought they were going to see it.
It was going to happen because it was very clear from the very beginning of the Bible, God gave a special purpose to the Jewish people.
This is all part of the Christian Zionist belief system. This is what is being used across the U.S. right now in the conservative movement to justify full-scale war with Iran. It is absolute psychosis. Hang on. Okay. Check this one out. This one is from February 2025.
Shocking that someone like Donald Trump is leading from a fairly biblical perspective. I'm not saying Donald Trump is Messiah. What I'm saying, he's a man. But it's remarkable that this man is leading from a more biblical perspective for the good of humanity.
I'm sorry, Donald Trump leading from a biblical perspective. What? In what way? I don't understand this bizarre deification of Donald Trump. He is not religious, obviously. I think he probably believes in God, most likely. I think it's safe to say that he's probably not an atheist. He's just very selfish. But to claim that he is leading in a biblical way, pure, unadulterated delusion, right?
Than these monsters who want to see mankind dead. And they squealed on themselves. They told themselves the truth. And Donald Trump spoke to this crowd. When he spoke, it was genius. He spoke to them via Zoom in a huge projection screen, almost like Big Brother, and he called them to task.
Anyway, the point is that she is absolutely obsessed with Donald Trump. Obsessed. And it's fucking wild. Check this one out. This one is from June 20th, 2025.
I adore Donald Trump. I love him. I think he's a fabulous president. But this is the one thing a president can't get wrong. According to the Bible, according to Joel chapter 3, a president can't get Israel wrong. They can't. This is the one most decisive issue that will either take down a presidency or it will lift up and create great promise for a presidency.
This is the holy cow thing, where they believe that the red heifers, or the red cows with the red coats or whatever, are going to be sacrificed, and then Israel is going to take control of the entire region, and blah, 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 blah. Middle, Jesus returns. Horrifying shit. Seriously, horrifying belief system. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. Like, she really disturbs me out of anybody. Maybe the most. All right, let's hit Beckwith. This is the Lieutenant Governor of Indiana, I believe. Micah Beckwith. Ugh. Micah Beckwith, I believe. Listen to what he said.
I didn't say this whole thing on Islam for political reasons, but I will tell you right now, this is a political winner. I mean, if you're a conservative and you want to, rally the base and the majority of people to support you, and
you want to whip people into a blood frenzy and get them to hate somebody, point a finger at somebody that's easy to blame for all of the world's problems.
Politics, if this was for political expediency, take a stand against Islam. I mean, that right now, I mean, this is just a winning issue for America, because
yeah, Muslims, easy targets. Let's all target Muslims and make their lives fucking miserable for absolutely no reason other than to benefit our own political prospects. Disgusting behavior. People who say shit like this should not be anywhere near office. They should not be allowed near office.
it's not because Americans hate Muslims. It's because we recognize the wicked ideology, and a lot of people just don't know how to address it. So when they see somebody standing up saying, "Hey, I'm going to call it out. I'm going to run at this thing head on," it resonates with people. So I've been very encouraged. People have been texting me a lot over the last few days, but oh my gosh, we've been seeing all the negative, media, and we're so sorry, and we hope you're doing okay. And I'm like, I'm doing great. I love it. I think this is fantastic. I mean,
yeah, anytime you can target an innocent fucking minority with hate and vitriol is a good day for Micah Beckwith, right?
This is exactly what I got elected to do, and I'm doing it, and I'm not going to back down. So
anyway, he's a complete piece of trash. Check this clip out from him. This one is from April 29th, 2026.
A firing squad is a couple bucks. You know what I mean? And it's humane. You have
firing squad is humane. Okay.
It's a quick end to life. We shouldn't torture anyone, absolutely, but put them down. And by the way, just so people know, if somebody's convicted of a capital crime, that doesn't mean that God doesn't love them, right? God still loves them. And there's still hope for that person on death row, too. And we as the government should recognize that and say, hey, you're going to pay for your crime here in this life. You're going to be executed. However, there is life after death. And
isn't God supposed to be the one sorting people out like this? I think the government is supposed to protect society from monsters, without a doubt. But shouldn't God be the one deciding who lives and dies, who deserves to live and die, and where they end up afterward and all that shit? I just think it's wild that this dude justifies literal murder. They are literally murdering people here.
just like the thief on the right, you can be in paradise when you take your last breath, and we would want that for you, and Christ would want that for you. And I even have heard Erica Kirk talk about how she prays for the assassin of her husband, that someday he will find Christ.
Yeah, that was after they discovered that he was a Christian and after they discovered he was white. I wonder how she'd be talking about her. I'm sorry. I wonder how they'd be talking about him if he was like a trans person or something. No need to wonder. We actually know exactly how they would talk about him. It started out with Nancy Mace saying some crazy thing on the twit, like, we need vengeance. We need to, punish this person severely. When they found out that he was from a MAGA family, right-leaning, and raised Christian, she said, we should be praying for his soul. Charlie would want that. It's so transparent.
And him and Charlie will both be in heaven someday praising our Savior. That, to me, is so powerful, and that's what we should be doing. So it's not unkind and it's not unloving to carry out the death penalty. It's
yes, it is. It is literally murder, which is forbidden in the Bible. So, okay.
Unkind, unloving if we don't, and we can actually bless both society and even the person on death row. It can be a blessing to them too, because they can take their last breath on this earth, open their eyes, and be in the presence of Jesus. And today, like Jesus told the thief on the right, today you will be with me in paradise. And I think that's...
Kill them all, let God sort them out. Yep. That's actually, and I don't like making this comparison for no reason at all, but that is exactly what the Nazified Christians said. Kill them all and let God sort them out. If the Jews really are on God's side or whatever, then God will make sure that they're taken care of when they get to heaven. So we should take them all out now and let them sort them out.
That's the way to do it justly, to also have mercy, and to do it humbly, just like Micah 6:8 tells us to do in Scripture.
You know what I find really fascinating? Hang on, let me step back here a little bit. 1 second.
A firing squad, too, because they can take their last breath on this earth.
Right. It's almost like he's framing the firing squad as like a kindness, right? It's like he's trying to portray it as something that he's doing to help people or some shit. Yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. This dude is a complete piece of trash, dude. Just disgusting. I was going to talk about Islam since he was, but I don't think it'll really fit properly, so leave it at that. Actually, let me do a couple more clips from him. Check this one out. This one is from 2026. It's from April 22nd.
Well, I just think, if that vote holds and we see that Virginia does amend their constitution to go down the redistricting path, I would just say, wake up, Christians. They are coming for you. And
okay, the redistricting thing, Republicans literally started this redistricting thing. They started redistricting in Texas, and Democrats decided to redistrict in California and Virginia and other places. Hilariously, Democrats are doing their redistricting through ballot initiatives, through referendums. They're getting permission to redistrict, to draw the lines to be more favorable to Democrats. They're doing that through elections. They're letting the people choose whether to redistrict. And the people every time so far have chosen to redistrict. Now that it's Democrats doing it, now that Democrats are fighting back on Republicans' terms, now they're all bent out of shape and upset and crying about it. Oh, they're so persecuted and mistreated, and Democrats are cheating and all of that other shit. These people are shameless. Shameless, vile liars.
You can't pet a demon. I mean, I know people like to say, just, hey, demons, stay over there, but, we just don't hurt us and we won't hurt you. It doesn't work that way.
I'm sorry, what the fuck is he talking about right now? You can't pet a demon? What is the point of him even saying that? I don't know what that means.
Evil will find you. And until strong men stand up and do something and fight fire with fire, then we will continue to lose ground. Our children will be warped. The curse will be over the land, as Pastor Kuhneman was saying. And so I think it's time. Like, I hope it fails, but at the same time, I don't think it will. I think it will pass. I've kind of been saying that all along. Because the Democrats and the side of darkness, which again, Democrats aren't necessarily all dark, but they are being led by the minions and the voices of darkness. And they're going to win. They're playing to win. And so we have.
Well, of course, Republicans have been playing dirty this whole time, right? And now Democrats are playing the same game mildly, not even fully, just a little bit. And, you know, the dude can't handle it when that happens. Please get help.
To wake up, and guys, step up. And if we win, if we go on the battlefield, we will win. The question is, will we enter the battlefield? That's just what I don't know.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. These people are seriously, deeply delusional. All right, I guess I'm going to call that there. I have to get out of here. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. It's been fun. I will talk. Wait, I sent proof to Owen. I will take a look at it. I'll see what I can find. All right, I'll talk to you guys later on. Thank you for coming. I will see you tomorrow.